2, 1.
Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm excited. We got about 20 seconds. We're going to go on the FM. Smash the share button. Kurt, why should somebody share this out? Maybe even let us know what they're doing today.
Because it's positivity and it's community. Let's go.
It's Positive Wednesday, and that's what we're going to be rolling with. We have a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be talking about education, and we're going to be talking about a local newspaper that's probably, bless you, in your mailbox right now. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And today we're going to be talking about several topics. One of those is something that we haven't talked about in, I want to say, less than 24 hours, on the air at least.
Right. Tacos.
Tacos. What's the website people can go to learn about tacos and make all their taco dreams come true?
Talkoftaco.com is our Eventbrite link where you can register for the Talk of Taco cook-off.
You know, I love that. Make your taco dreams come true. You know, and I want to be a part of those taco dreams and helping everybody realize their full taco potential. And this is an opportunity, right?
I love the description, by the way, because it says Talk of Taco and then dot is in parentheses, com.
Just in case.
And that's because Facebook hates it when you put a URL to another place outside of Facebook.
And that's a free tip. So if you are a business owner, if you are somebody that's trying to promote something, whenever you have an outside link inside of your description for a post or a video, sometimes Facebook was like, hey, I would rather people stay inside of Facebook instead of going outside of it. So
we posted a video yesterday. Well, the church did, and they put alcc.org, and the video had like 50 views. And then it's like, why? Well, because you put the alcc.org. You can't drive people away from Facebook. They don't like it.
Yeah.
So we put it in parentheses so it doesn't look like a website, but we still want you to go to talkoftaco.com.
We're pretty
Take
proud.
that, Facebook.
We're proud of ourselves, in case you can't tell. Like, yeah, we're not that smart. But it's 8:40 on a Wednesday. We're gonna be spreading some positivity today. Good morning, Colleen, Solian, Christopher, everybody else that's gonna be watching this video. Feel free to share it out and let us know what do you have going on today. I'm so excited because the city of Lamarck, from what I understand, is bringing a team to the Talk of Taco cook-off.
We talked about it yesterday. They're super excited to have a team. I think Tink, the city manager, is super excited about having a team. He's apparently a really good cook.
And a fisherman.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what else he does? He answers people's questions. Whenever there's a post from the city of Lamarck, he steps up to the plate and starts answering. And I thought that's really cool. On social media, that's kind of the way that we're heading. You know, as a society, a lot of people are on social media, and for whatever reason, they can't make it to these city council meetings and some of these meetings where there's a lot of information gone over. So they're releasing it on social media. And then if somebody has a question, I see him step up. He's not shying away from it. So shout out to City of Lamarck. We support you guys. We love Lamarck. We are Lamarck, and we want to put some more shine on the positive stuff that's going on. And this is definitely something with the Talk of Taco cook-off happening inside of Lamarck, Texas, right here at KHEA Radio and Abundant Life.
Yeah, so go to the Eventbrite link, go to talkoftaco.com, get your cook-off teams ready to go, because this is going to be a fun event. This is going to be an event that's a game. I was talking to Concetta yesterday, and Concetta is the owner of Maceo Spice Company. This has existed in Galveston since 1947.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to have a team as well. And I was like, Concetta, there's nothing like this in the nation. And she's like, wait, hold up. Say that again? I was like, there's nothing like this in the entire nation. And she's like, I got to be a part of this. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be something that changes people's lives. Like, tacos are never going to be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix has a documentary about tacos, but they don't have a Talk of Taco cook-off.
We may have to see if LeBron James wants to enter. Have you seen his Taco Tuesday videos?
Is he good at cooking?
He's good at eating tacos. He posts videos every Tuesday on his social media stories where him and his family or wherever he's at talks about Taco Tuesday, and he does like this big old thing, but it's fun. Tacos, I think the world is catching on to what us in Galveston County and Texas have been doing for a long time.
Yeah, and that's serving delicious tacos.
I'm about it.
You know, you don't have to be a restaurant owner. You don't have to be a food truck driver. You don't have to own a cook-off team. You could just bring yourself.
You don't even have to be the owner of Benito's, you know? And but if you are, then you already got a head start.
Did you see yesterday, by the way, Enrique posted a picture of before and after, like he repainted the entire restaurant?
I did, yeah.
And I was like, that's from that Shine On money right there.
Wow.
Basically, because he got that view. That video has like 100,000 views on it.
I know. It got like 40,000 views in a day whenever Shine On Lamarck dropped for Benito's in Lamarck, Texas. A shout out to Enrique and his family. Been holding it down in Lamarck, Texas for a long time. So if you haven't been before, maybe feel free to check them out. We support them and love everything they have going on. It is 8:44 on a Wednesday. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. And we are going to be spreading some positivity today, whether you like it or not. So let us know what you have going on. But, yesterday, Curt came into studio, and he was really disappointed that nobody brought this up. But I'm going to go ahead and maybe bring it up so that way he can talk about it for a bit. So, Curt, you walked in the studio yesterday. You were all giddy, had a big smile on your face and a smirk. Can you let the people know why?
Because I have a mustache.
You do have a mustache. And there's nothing wrong with having a mustache.
Right.
But you were pretty proud of yourself, right?
I started shaving, and then I was like, you know what? How funny would it be if I showed up on the radio today and just had a mustache? So I stopped. I just was like, okay, let me shave everything else except for the mustache. My dad had a mustache my entire life.
A pretty strong one, I assume.
Oh, amazingly. And it was always like, when you're a little kid and you go up to daddy, it was like sharp. Like the hairs were like prickly, and I just remember that about my dad. I didn't want kisses from my dad because then it would be like prickly. You know?
It's gonna poke your head or something. So there's something about like dad status. Whenever you become a dad, you instantly get that dad strength. Your mustache becomes a little bit stronger. It's like you're playing a video game and you're leveled up your character, and it's like mustache plus 10. Like dad strength plus 50.
I poked my dad was so proud of this. He's like, yeah, poke my muscle. And I was like, Dad, what is that? And he goes, there's a rock in there. And it was always funny. Like as a little kid, I just remember those things. So this is kind of a shout out to my dad, but also because I wanted to try something funny and see how long. Last night, I was at a press conference or whatever you want to call it, a community rally. And the whole time I felt out of place and awkward. I didn't realize it until I got in the car and looked in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, that's why I felt out of place.
It's your mustache.
Yeah, probably people were looking at me like, why is this creeper at this press conference with a camera? Like, out of all the things that possibly could happen.
You did bring a razor today.
I did.
Are you going to shave it today?
I kind of like it.
Just leave it for the rest of the year.
I like this a lot.
Why not?
This could be awesome. I walked in to get my bang this morning, and the guy at the register was like, just let it curl around. And I'm like, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it's a cry for help, I think. It's a cry for help. If y'all like Curt's mustache, let him know. If not, maybe it's time to shave it. He brought a razor just in case, but I think it looks okay. You got it. You're holding it down.
Maybe just through church. I just want to see if anyone at church notices. There was somebody on Sunday. Sunday I had the glasses on.
Yes.
The hipster glasses. They were fake glasses. I just wanted to try them out. Somebody actually walked up to me that I know from the church and introduced, hi. I'm pretending like I was somebody new, and I was like, it's nice to meet you too.
Let me speak on behalf of everybody with glasses, right? So I started wearing glasses in the 3rd grade, and intern Eldridge has glasses on. What grade did you start wearing glasses? You were pretty young? Last year. Okay,
I was
so not
in
too
4th
long.
grade.
So you were in 4th grade, okay. And where are your glasses now?
I just wore them for 3 weeks, and then I forced my eyes to be correct.
Well, look at you.
Congratulations. I know. I was like, I don't want to wear these anymore.
Exactly.
Eyes fixed themselves, and they did.
So it hurts my feelings being a kid, because I wasn't always, the most popular. I wasn't always the most athletic, but I always had glasses, and just being forced to wear glasses to see, and then I see someone like you coming in, and you're just like, I'm going to make a mockery of everything that is glasses, everything that is pure and holy, and everything that, I had to earn these by having bad eyes, and then Curt just puts them on and is like, oh, look at me, it's cool. I'm like, no, it's not cool, because it wasn't cool when I was a little kid, and I don't know if it's cool now, because people make fun of my glasses every day.
Listen, I was just doing what was best for the hipster crowd. I had to fit in a little bit, and so that was the staple. You wear glasses if you're a hipster.
That's not necessarily true. Maybe they can't see. Think about it, Curt.
Well, look, I just wanted to be cool like the rest of y'all.
you got to earn it. Just have bad eyesight. Wait till you get old one day, and then you're going to be like, I wish I could see and I didn't have to wear glasses. It would be nice to wake up, and I've seen memes about this, like, hey, people that just open their eyes and can see in the morning. What's that like? You know, and I had to struggle through high school trying to wear contacts with dry eyes, sleeping in them, halfway messing up my eyes before I'm like, you know what, I'm going to ruin my eyes. I'm going to wear glasses again.
You know, the funniest thing is that I used to always, like, when we first started out, I'm like, yeah, because, you know, I got to have one thing that's right with my body.
Right, your eyes.
Right, my eyes. I have one thing over the top of you.
Is that the okay, whatever. Is that the deal you made with God in heaven? I remember being a kid and just being like, God was like, you can either have perfect eyesight or you can be good at video games. And you're like, video games.
Video games.
You know, like, you can either have, you know, like a 4.3 speed in the 40, or you can be really good at science and debate, you know. Those are the things that
I
were
would have
happening.
taken the 340. No joke, man. I thought, here's the funniest part is, do you remember back in the day, speaking of 340s, we used to run 40-yard dashes, right?
In like 2-a-days of football. Yeah.
Well, no, we would do speed tests.
Okay.
Like for PE class or whatever, we had to do these measurements and we had to jump and do
I didn't know if
everything.
you were talking about whenever you were a teacher, that's just one of the interview processes. Okay, no, at PE. Okay, sorry.
And I remember, like, I ran like a 6.3 40 or something like that. It was garbage.
Kurt, that's pretty slow.
Right?
Let's blame it on the timekeeper.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
the
it was his
timekeeper.
fault. He totally messed up. Okay.
Super timekeeper issue. And I remember, like, that was back in the day of NCAA football. I'm like, dang.
Did you make a creative player?
No.
With like a 6.3 40?
No, but I was like, man, I'm not even recruiting somebody who doesn't at least have like a 4.7. You know, I'm definitely like, even the fat lineman.
The linemen run 4.7s.
And I was like, I'm never making it into NCAA football.
Oh, man.
Oh, they've named my mustache. That's funny.
What is it named?
Kurt's caterpillar is called Harry. Say hi to Harry, everyone.
Harry, the caterpillar of the mustache. Okay, so Kurt's creative player in NCAA football to have that 6'3", 40 and a mustache. Those are like his attributes. Like, what are the badges that you earn? Caterpillar mustache and a plus 640 speed.
You're at the pearly gates, and they're just reading back, man, that mustache that you had for those 2 days.
Yeah,
not getting into heaven now.
I remember being a kid and going to football practice and getting timed down to 40, right?
Right.
And it was always sub 5. It's not like it was like, I don't know, it was probably like 4.6, 4.7. But that's like what those linemen. But I was like, what, 150 pounds? But it's not. I just wasn't like naturally fast. But I remember thinking like, well, at least it's less than 5, you know. But the difference between like a 4.4 and a 4.7, like those point seconds, is a lot. But it doesn't seem like a lot. But for some reason it is. It's crazy.
I used to be a sprinter on the track team.
Really?
I was. I ran the... I didn't want to be...
What is going on with Nebraska sports in the 90s?
I just didn't want to throw. Like, I hated shot put only because one time... This is the funny...
Looking at you, that's exactly what I guess you'd do.
Like shot put, right? Well, when I was in middle school, I kind of ruined shot putting for me. I was a shot putter in middle school.
I can see that.
And I came home one day and I was like, man, I want to practice. So we had these bricks. And I was like, oh, let me practice. So I picked up this brick and I turned around and I threw it. And I didn't realize what was behind me. And it was my dad's Jeep.
Oh, my God.
It shattered the windshield. And my dad was not happy about that.
Okay.
So I kind of ruined shot putting for me.
But what happened? Did he get mad? Like disciplining where you grounded, take away video games, get a spanking? Like, what happened?
I think I blocked it out of my head. But I was like, nothing happened, Dad.
It wasn't me. I'm just curious because the other day you shared a story about how the teacher was saying you were a messy kid and you had a messy desk and your dad was like, going up to the school and cleaned it for her, and then it was like, he does not have a messy desk. Kurt, go play. You don't have to skip recess anymore.
Yeah, my dad, I don't think, was too happy about this. He didn't understand why I was shot putting it and just thought that like I threw it through the windshield to be mad at him.
I don't understand why you were shot putting it either. Why weren't you lucky? You just picked up a brick and you were like, Dad's car, boom.
Yeah.
Nope. Man. Well, as a kid, yeah, sometimes you do stuff and then you think later. And so I always tell my kids, like, hey, just think about it. Stop. Take a second. We're okay. You know, you're not in a rush. Like whenever you're making a decision on your response, if you're making a decision on how you're going to act, like just think about it. And that's advice I try and take myself.
I was one of those sprinters though. That have you ever seen where it's where it was like everyone else is already finished and there's like that guy at the end and the whole
Everyone's
crowd is
like,
cheering?
yeah.
That was me.
Okay, is it bad to say I'm not surprised?
Nope, it was definitely me. As I look back, I'm like, what was I doing running a 200?
But did you like that feeling? Like, hey, everybody's cheering for me, or was it kind of like embarrassing? Like,
looking back at the time, I thought it was cool, but looking back, I'm like, man, I was that bad. I was that kid. Like, I was just not athletic, except for one time. I ran an 800-meter dash, which is, not a sprint. It's a little jog.
It's a long time.
But I did really well. I was like half. I placed in like the top half.
Is it fair to say an 800-meter is not a dash? Because that's 2 times around a track. I'm thinking like a dash is something short because that's a good.
It was a medium distance. Yeah, half a mile.
Yeah.
Now I could easily do half a mile. Like, in high school, I thought half a mile was such a long distance.
Kurt, okay, after this show's over, I'm going to have you go outside and let me see you easily do half a mile.
I can. I used to run like 6-7 miles.
When you say used to, we're talking about like in junior high whenever this story happened?
No, like 10 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
When I was like 23,
Kurt, you were like
24.
20. You were like 20.
Okay, so it's 6 years ago, not 10 years.
Oh, my God. That's still a long time, Kurt. You're still, yeah, okay. The delusion is strong today. It's 8:55. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. At 9 o'clock, we're going to have a special guest. Miss Kathy Turner from Impact. We're going to be talking about everything going on in the local community. It's a newspaper that is probably in your mailbox right now. They have an issue that drops every month where they're touching on local news stories. You can also check them out on their website as well.
Yeah. Also, we still haven't heard from y'all. Tell us, what is a taco place that needs to enter into the Taco Cook-Off? We haven't gotten really good responses from people to say, like, here are the places that need to have their tacos in the Taco Cook-Off.
Kayla, you know a lot of people, and I see you watching on our Facebook stream. Feel free to let us know in the comments. What places should we go to and say, hey, you need to be in this event because we hear that you're the best, and we got that from Kayla. And that means a lot here in our area for sure. So I just saw Kathy. She's hanging out outside. We're going to get her in, maybe take a quick break here in a couple minutes, and then make sure that she's comfortable and ready to go. But again, we are excited for the show today. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you have any thoughts on, I think, anything going on in the community, feel free to let us know. We're trying to spread some positivity. That's what it's all about here. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and you can easily let that like engulf your day, engulf your life. But you always need to try and look at the bright side of things, look for solutions, look for things that you can do to make the world a better place. Because if you don't, then nobody will. But yeah, it's 8:56. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. Kickstart's going to be on till 11 a.m. today.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about the Taco Cook-Off. I know you guys are. We've been getting a lot of traction for judges, but we are hoping that we can have everyone as a cook-off team first before we get the judges.
Yeah, we have about 500 judges. Now we just need to make sure we have
500 cook-off teams.
Yeah, so everybody can judge one. One bite of taco. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break on the FM. We're going to keep it going on the Facebook stream. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Coming up next is a song by the Newsboys. It's called Guilty. Go download the KHEA Radio app or listen to KHEARadio.com. Woohoo. What's up, folks? Hey, Jennifer. How can we need to purchase some of those Bay Area Houston food lovers cards. I feel like that is the most popular thing in my world right now that I need. I need to get one. It's a really cool card. If you haven't heard about it, you get a discount to a ton of local restaurants. There's about 30, and I think there's going to be a rollout of new restaurants in less than a month, maybe at the end of the month. But it's a great way to save. If I understand correctly, I mean, I'm not even going to say the price, but I'm just going to say it's like you can figure it out. It's less than 2 hands, $1 somewhere in there, right?
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think you were asking me like, man, this card is worth like a lot of money. It's worth a lot of money, and it's basically like as a trial run, it's almost for free, just paying for the plastic that it was printed on and all that stuff itself. It's definitely worth it. You go use the card one time, it's paid for itself.
Yeah, I think, because if you save 20% at a restaurant,
yeah,
it adds up.
Agreed, and there's a lot of our friends that are on there, so make sure you go check it out, and then Go join Bay Area Houston food lovers so you can be in the know. There's a lot of cool questions posted in there. Thoughts on local restaurants, establishments, reviews, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's a great community. Hey, good morning, Steve. What's up, Robin? Shout out to our good friends, partners at Axe Masters, Texas. If you have not had the opportunity to go to an axe throwing arena yet, this is your chance. It's right here in League City. They offer a ton of fun, really. They offer community teamwork, teamwork building exercises, and then just a way to kind of blow off some steam. We have a target over there with an axe in it. Eldridge, our intern, he was asking, what are we going to do with this? I don't know if people get worried whenever they come in and see the axe. At least Eldridge is, because he knows how me and Curt get with each other sometimes when we're off air. And I'm like holding my baseball bat, and Curt has the axe over there, and he's just like, are we going to get rid of these weapons and put them somewhere else? First of all, this isn't a weapon. It's a baseball bat. It's a Louisville Slugger, and it's genuine. KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. But yeah, shout out to Louisville Slugger. And no, we're going to put this on the wall, like in a shadow box or something, mount it. And I think that's our same plan for the target with the axe. So yeah, shout out to Axe Masters, our good friends, Robin and her husband. They're holding it down over there. Let me know what you got going on today. I'm thinking about going to the batting cages, and I'm still trying to figure out where in the world are all the batting cages in our area. I haven't been to one since I was like just out of high school, and I went to Putt Putt Funhouse because my buddy used to work there. What's up, Dustin? Now he just got a new job. He went to school and got like a business and accounting degree and everything. But if he still has some strings at Putt Putt, I need to go take some cuts in the cage. And if there's any other places where I can go, I'm really tempted to take this bat. Kurt's kind of eyeballing me right now. But I think if I got in a batting cage with this bat, that I would be like maybe the best home run hitter of our time. Just holding this, it's like radiating power and electricity off of it. I feel like Babe Ruth when I'm holding this. We dropped an article the other day that there was a young man who was at a MLB game, and he was throwing, and they were doing a thing where they were clocking, and he was throwing like 90 miles an hour. And so he ended up getting signed by a professional team. I think it was the Athletics. So that's what I'm hoping. I go to Putt Putt Funhouse. I take the KHEA Radio Louisville Slugger. I get Eldridge, our intern, or Curt, to make a video of me just smashing these 101 mile an hour baseballs. And then I break the bat and like I was like in the middle of my dream right now, Curt. How are you going to cough and interrupt me on that? Anyways, we have our guest in studio. What's up? How are you doing?
I am doing great.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
I know, yeah, it has. I'm going to move this over so I can get your camera popped over. I like your Texas Tech Yeti cup.
I know.
That's cool.
My youngest, I'm giving a lot of money to Tech. So I got a cup.
What are they going to school for?
My oldest one is at Sam Houston, and he's doing criminal justice.
Cool.
So, yeah, he wants to either do Homeland Security or Secret Service.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and he'll go into the Navy once he graduates in December, so he gets that military background for it. So,
okay.
Doing that. And then my youngest one's at Texas Tech doing finance. So,
okay. I always wonder how those people get into that career. You know, like whenever you go, like, I'm going to be Secret Service, or I'm going to go into, like, the FBI's looking at me, CIA, or something like that.
Well, he's always wanted to do it since he was little. So, Sam Houston was the perfect place for that, of course, because it's one of the top criminal justice schools in the country. So, that's really good. So, yeah. So, I mean, he's just wanted to do it, and it just kind of keeps pursuing it. So.
Yeah. I just mentioned my buddy went into finance. He used to work at Putt Putt Funhouse, and that's why I was talking about the batting cages. Okay. But that's a great field to go in as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So my youngest, he had an internship at AT&T this summer in San Antonio. So that was awesome. That was good, and hopefully to go back again next summer. And yeah. So both are doing really well. So I'm excited for him. So Putt Putt Funhouse, in fact, we're doing a story. We did a story on them in this issue coming out.
Really? What's it on?
On their 40th anniversary. So they're our business profile.
Oh, that's amazing.
So very colorful. It's a great story.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff. And I remember whenever my buddy he was the manager there, and we were like in high school, and then he stayed on like for a year after while he was going to school, right? So I remember it was a Main Event that opened, and everybody was like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
The Main Event has a bunch of cool stuff, but Putt Putt Funhouse, they offer something different, you know, with the bumper boats and obviously like the putt-putt outside. Oh, and there's a lot of really cool stuff. They've been doing it for a long time.
Oh, we spent, both my boys, many birthday parties there, so. know the place well.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's a great place.
You know, you going into the field of like printed news and journalism, did you think that your sons were going to go into that field as well? Or did they ever show any interest?
Not really any interest at all. So my oldest one he's more likely to have done it. He likes sales. I mean, they're both kind of good in sales, so they could have gone into that aspect. But no, they didn't really. We had them read the paper growing up, and like they always checked out the sports pages and, of course, the comics and the good stuff. But no, there was never really any. They didn't want to follow in my footsteps.
Yeah,
so.
I got you. The comics. Kurt, did you read the comics growing up?
A little bit. I love the comics.
It was like Garfield.
I had
That's my fave.
Every morning we had a homeroom for 20 minutes, and I always read the newspaper, and it was the comics.
There you go.
So we got 20 seconds, and then we're going to go on the FM as well. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video out and let us know what you got going on. We're going to be talking about a local publication that's in your mailbox right now that you need to make sure you check out and
I'm hoping
support.
that Kathy will allow us to have the Talk of Taco event in the newspaper every time it goes out.
Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
It's 9:04 on a Wednesday, and we are excited because we have a special guest. We're going to be talking about something really cool that is spreading some news that people need to know in our area.
Yeah, there's a lot that's happening in our community, and knowing what's going on in our community is always a big deal. One of the things that we're working on, and I just want to give people an opportunity to know about, and that is our Talk of Taco cook-off event. If you're watching right now, drop a comment and tell us, hey, what is the best taco shop out there? The Talk of Taco event is taking place October 12th right here in Lamarck, Texas. We're looking for the world's best taco. It's $100 to enter in, and you can cook for us.
Maybe this
one. And go to talkoftaco.com to get all the details.
So we have a guest in studio today. It's Kathy. Kathy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Good.
Can you let everybody know, the name of the publication, the paper, and where you can find it?
Okay, so in fact, this is our 1-year anniversary. Is the August issue that will be in the mailboxes starting Friday. But it's the Community Impact Newspaper Bay Edition. So we cover news in Clear Lake, which is the 585962 zip codes. We cover all of League City, and then we currently do also Clear Lake Shores. So a little over 64,000 mailboxes. Every business, home, apartment gets it.
1 year in, what have y'all learned? And I know there's these community impacts in other places, but like it has to be a learning experience because each place is different. How has it been this journey 1 year in?
Well, I think ours is a little different in that we get as Jake loves, he gets to geek out on the aerospace stories we get to do. So we get some unique stories that we get to do that a lot of our other markets don't. But we're also unique in that we have all these cities that are represented around us. So even though we might not distribute to all of them, we still make sure and cover Seabrook, KHEA, those places we're not actually distributing to. So that makes us a little bit more unique. So just kind of that's a little different for the company, and then just figuring out what's the best stories and why do the readers care.
Yeah, we just got through that 50 years, NASA, the moon landing, and y'all covered that.
Well, and one of the things we look at, and this is why we're different, is that everybody and their mom covered, that 50th anniversary, as it should be, because it was a big deal. But we looked at it from, yes, this is great, and this is our community. What does it mean moving forward? So what is it, going back to the moon, what does it mean to the community? What new businesses are coming to the area? How's the growth? And so it's really, how does it affect the people living in the community? So we looked at it from that approach versus, the looking at the past.
My mom did cover that story, actually, now that you mention it. Yeah,
You might have. Everybody did.
Everybody did. Kurt, I know that you were hanging out and you had some the opportunity to go see and learn about, the 50th anniversary of the lunar moon landing, and that's big for our area.
Yeah, I was there at the concert. It was kind of cool. I think Walk the Moon was playing, and it was a lot of fun to kind of see. They had these little bracelets, and I was a little disappointed. It was NRG, I think, had the bracelets, and they would light up to the sound, which was kind of cool because then everyone had the bracelets in there. But I was expecting there to be like a countdown timer on there when he landed on the moon, and there wasn't.
Wow.
Disappointed.
Kathy, how has that event affected our area whenever it comes to the community and business?
And what's coming up for the future, or
sure, I guess even in the time from 50 years ago till now, and then going into the future as well.
It's just the growth of the area, and it's interesting. There's that's one of the things we looked at too, is talking to people that were here when it happened 50 years ago to get the local perspective and what did it mean to the community and all that. And that's just we're known for this. I mean, that's the whole city of Houston's known for it, but this is our back door, so our backyard. So that's what I think is very exciting for the community.
Yeah, it's something to be proud of. Curt was talking about being from Nebraska and not realizing, I mean, it's a big deal, but it wasn't maybe as big of a deal to people in Nebraska. But we have astronauts that we run into, or people that work in NASA who are directly involved or were around and worked on that mission. So it's a bit different.
Well, you saying that, I almost think it's the opposite. I have a tendency to forget how important these people are. You see them, when my kids were at Brookwood Elementary, it seemed like there was at least one parent on every mission going up. But it was so common for us. And then, my brother comes in, that lives in the East Coast, comes in from out of town, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so and so. That's so." And so it's like, "Oh yeah, they are a big deal." So you kind of take it a little bit for granted when they're around you all the time.
What can we expect on the new August issue? Comes out Friday.
August issue. Well, I've got a sneak peek of the front, and this is my printer at home, so it doesn't do it any justice. But so we're looking at obviously we're following the spaceport and what that means to us. But this story that's coming out is talking about San Jacinto College, how they're stepping up to really help educate kids to be able to work the spaceport as it gets here and work, because that's been a huge deal for us to make sure we can educate the students in high school and in college to be ready for this, and then also the current workforce in aerospace to get them up to speed. So San Jacinto College, so we're really jumping into that. And they did that before with the maritime program. They saw a need, they meet with community officials, they see there's a need for this, and then they create a program to help support it. So that's one of our stories. And then the other one's a unique one for us, and this is, as I said, we seem to find stories that are not typical community impact stories, but we're looking at the Calder Road killings and what the new DNA and all of that, because of the history of it from the area. And then we talk to people that were here then, that kind of thing. So it's just how they were able to identify the Jane and Janet Does that had not been identified. So it's really looking into that, and that's a unique story for us. We don't typically write something like that.
Wow.
But
was that earlier this year they found him, or was that already last year?
It was earlier this year. So it's just really kind of looking at the DNA and the process. And of course, the police chief, he was like one of the lead investigators when it first happened. So he's always followed it and always been on top of it.
That's one of the hard parts about community, is that there is sometimes crime that takes place, but there's so many people that are involved in that case, that dates back years and years and years. So there's so many people, a part of the community, who are part of that.
Absolutely. And so that's the look, is to really, you lived here. What was it like, when this was all going on, and how important it's been to stay on top of this story, and to follow it through to the end, to be able to identify these women and get closer to families.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I remember whenever there was like the press release, and then there were some press conferences, and for them to be able to do that, I mean, there's a lot of people who have been wondering, and I think there's a lot of people who didn't realize exactly where it was either. You've heard about it, movies about it, and then you realize, wow, that's where it is. Man, it's right there, and everybody drives right past it every day.
Well, and that's something we'll show tastefully, and that's something we had everybody and all the way up looking at the story to make sure, because we obviously want to make sure it was a good way to present it, but we show where they are, where they're found, and some stats, and then we also look at kind of like what was the first sketches of the women, and as it progressed, how close they got to where they ended up, kind of thing to see, which we thought was kind of an interesting look as well.
So community impact, y'all touch on these stories in a different way. In your opinion, and I guess with your publication's opinion, like, what actually qualifies as news?
So our biggest thing we have to answer, we have planning meetings. We get all the, we have our graphics person in there, editor, managing editor, and we look in everything we want to do. We have to answer the question, why do our readers care? And why do the readers in our community care? Not, Pearland Friendswood, who has their own edition or whatever. So if we can't answer that question, then we won't do the story. And, it's funny going in, you think, gosh, are you going to run out of stories to do? But there's just so much going on in our community. So there's so many great things to cover. So, but that's really what we have to answer.
I got you. Yeah. Me and Curt, we talk about that stuff all the time because we'll see stuff and we're like, maybe on the news, on the network news, and it's like, is this news? Like why was this posted? Maybe somebody cares, but is it to stir up controversy? Is it posted for other reasons? But a lot of times it's just like, well, for us, and I think for y'all too, touching on stories that the community cares about and can help, people want to know, then, okay, it can be news.
Well, and the thing we look at is we're unbiased. So we want to show all sides. And that's one of the things we hear. Jake gets a lot of feedback from people who, they do interviews saying they really love the way he's balanced in the story and the way he covers the story. We don't tell our readers how to think. We give them the information and let them make an educated decision. Just like Voter's Guide that'll come out in October, we send all the candidates the same questions. They have a certain amount of space that they answer, and we lay it out and let the readers decide who they want to vote for. We don't go, ooh, vote for so-and-so. And we will not endorse, and I get asked, and I'm like, I'll vote for who I vote, but I can't endorse. And so.
Yeah, and there are some publications who do endorse. A lot of them do endorse.
Oh, absolutely. And we found, it's just, everybody has different missions. Our mission is to educate, inform citizens so they can make great decisions. That's what our mission is.
Can you truly be unbiased if you do endorse, like as a publication,
Absolutely.
as a network?
Yeah, you have people read you, so you have influence, and you're influencing certain people that may not have their own deciding factor on it, and they'll go, ooh, I'll follow them. And
right.
so we won't do that.
I got you. All right, right now it's 9:15. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. We have Kathy Turner in studio from Community Impact.
You may not endorse candidates, but can you endorse positivity?
Or radio stations?
Or KHEA Radio. That would be good, right?
Well, don't you think me being here is a really good endorsement for you?
But it sounds better if you have the sound bite or like a video of it.
You can play it forever, right?
Yeah,
right.
Just on a loop.
Just on a loop. All we care about, Kathy, is the impact, that will have on our listeners. Did you see how I dropped impact in there?
That was very good.
The positive impact on the community. Impact.
KHEA Radio.
Bay Area edition. Let's go. So we're having a lot of fun this morning talking about community impact, and we had Kathy in studio
a year ago.
It was about a year ago.
Right, about a year ago.
And the publication just launched in our area, so it's exciting to see that 1 year.
Gardy still has the first issue running around somewhere.
It's framed on my wall, and underneath it I have like a little plaque that I made myself saying like, and one day I'm going to be able to write an article in this publication. And so that's my next question.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 year ago, we sat in the same studio. I was here. I think you were over there. I remember it like yesterday.
Gardy had a question, and it was super important. And I think see, he's speechless because he's having a hard time asking this question because it's really important to him. It means a whole lot.
Uh-oh.
He's 40 under 40.
I saw that. Congratulations.
I don't know how I snuck in there. I think I was like 41, and somebody
I paid somebody.
Yeah, Curt paid him off.
But he's got a lot of lists of accomplishments, but one thing he doesn't have is he's not a writer for Impact News yet.
I just need one chance, one story, and it'll only do like 200 words because I can't write that long, and my hands get tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have my resume over here.
He's been begging for a year.
Submit story samples.
And I have these Chick-fil-A gift cards as bribery over here. So, y'all, what's that? Y'all have an opportunity to submit story samples?
Because so what would happen is we do look at freelance writers. So we'll need them for different things. So but typically we'll assign you a story. It's not necessarily you coming to us with a story idea. Sometimes it is, but most of the time, and it's not a how wonderful I am kind of story, by the way, just qualifying. But we will. We'll always look at freelance writers, but we want story samples because that's kind of how we flush out who are truly writers and who just think they are.
Gardy,
cool.
You have some story samples right there, right?
Yeah, I have a bunch of them. I have like 30 of these like Chick-fil-A gift cards. But
free meals from Chick-fil-A? Would that help?
Yeah,
we're
right now
very ethical. That would not work.
Dang. It was worth a try.
It doesn't hurt to try.
If you want to bribe us with Chick-fil-A gift cards, we won't care.
Yeah.
We gave away a year's supply of Chick-fil-A yesterday. Did you see that picture?
I did. It made my heart melt because we really wanted to keep the stuffed cow, but after I saw their son, that he was so happy with the stuffed cow and big smile, I was like, yeah.
Here, I got it right there.
Oh, look at that. Oh.
So, yeah, shout out to Chick-fil-A, Leak City Town Center.
Yeah.
We gave away a year's supply of Chick-fil-A, and
Awesome.
you need to go check them out. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I know y'all have a bunch of, like, food features and stuff. I think I even saw Sloppy Nick's and Pomodoro, not Pomodoros, but Sloppy Nick's, which is close to Pomodoros, over there off of, what is that? Not Leak City Parkway, 518.
South Shore?
Yeah, over in the South Shore area. That y'all just did a feature on them.
Yeah, we so we'll do every month. We'll do a restaurant feature, and typically it's kind of getting to know the owner, why they went into the restaurant business, top 3 items on their menu that they recommend, and so as I call it, a lot of food porn. People love the pretty pictures of food, so and all that. But yeah, I will say it's free publicity for the restaurant, but it's kind of interesting how many times we have to walk away from a restaurant because they won't respond back to us.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're on a time frame, and and it's like, really, we're trying to grow your business. We can help you because we want to do, if we do a business feature in Clear Lake, we'll do a restaurant in League City, and then we'll flip it and do that. So then we look at variety of foods as well. So, if we want to do, German, like I want to do German food in October because of Oktoberfest, that kind of thing. So we try to do that. But we love the restaurants, but it's kind of interesting. So if you're a restaurant, please respond when we reach out to you.
Yeah, we've run into that in the past before, and they just don't realize what it is or don't realize the impact.
We're not a reviewer. So
Right.
we're not trying to, like I said, we're not trying to put you out of business. We're trying to grow your business. So we're not here to review you. We're here to just talk about your business and we want to help. We like the small mom and pop restaurants. Those are the ones we want to help grow.
I got you.
So
Do y'all do that for not just restaurants as well, but like other businesses?
So we'll do business profiles each month as well. So
KHEA Radio.
So and it can't be we don't do franchises. We really want to do smaller businesses that we again try to help grow.
We can't do it anymore. We're a franchise.
We're not well, the FCC franchised us our license. I don't know how you're spinning that, but
No, we're big. Never mind.
I don't think you know how franchises work.
I don't.
It's okay. Hey, we're going to take a quick break on the FM. It's 9:20. This is KHEAradio.com, 99.5 FM. Make sure you go download the KHEA Radio app, and you can stream us from anywhere in the world. Cruise Planners. Shout out to Cruise Planners playing on the FM right now. And we gave away that cruise. Do you go on cruises? Have you ever been on?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we're going on our 25th wedding anniversary doing a Hawaiian cruise this
That's
year.
awesome. Congratulations. 25 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hawaii is awesome. Have you been before?
Oh, yeah. But it's been since our oldest is 22. When he was 6 months was the last time we went. And we haven't done the cruise before. So it's a great way, I guess, to check all the islands out.
Where does it take off from?
Well, we're flying all the way into Honolulu.
Okay, so I was
we go
like,
out of there,
how
and
long
then
would it take to get?
No,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
no. That would be no. It's just you really just go from island to island, and then you can do excursions and whatever. But yeah,
Oh, that'd be
yeah,
amazing.
it's exciting. So yeah,
Do you do any fishing?
no, not a fish.
I went to Hawaii last year.
I like snorkeling.
Oh, that's fun.
But yeah,
Yeah. We went to Hawaii and I went fishing and I got seasick, so it was bad. But it was a lot of fun. It was beautiful. I took like half a day to recover, and then I'm like, I'm going to the
take
beach.
Dramamine. That's the lifesaver.
Yeah. It is cool. That's your stomach.
I think that was my stomach.
I was gonna say I don't think that was mine.
No, that was my
Granola bar on the
stomach.
way.
I was eating all these Chick-fil-A gift cards, and they're just not digesting right. Hey, before when we go back on the FM, I have a couple of questions. But while we're on Facebook, do you do event promotions as well? Because I know we jokingly we're talking about the Talk of Taco Cook-Off, but have you heard of the Talk of Taco Cook-Off?
I know because I follow you guys. I follow you on Facebook, so I've seen some of it. But we will do a lot of nonprofit events, like we're sponsoring for Bay Area Turning Point, their market and their luncheon and all that in October. So we
Cool.
do some of that. We try. It's hard as I'm growing, and that's the goal. As the paper grows, it allows me to do more sponsorship kind of things.
Hey, we're a not-for-profit.
Well, we're doing it with the United Way of of Galveston mainland or whatever.
Galveston County mainland.
Yeah, so that's what it's benefiting. But we're excited. Shout out to the United Way. They've been more than helpful to us in so many different ways, and we love promoting
They're
all the
great,
cool stuff
yeah.
they do. There's like 29 agencies. We're actually filming tomorrow and the next day for a bunch of their agencies to make a video for them so they can kind of show that off.
Good deal.
Cool. Hey, if you're listening on Facebook, let me know, what are you up to today? We are talking to Kathy and chatting about community impact, about all the cool stuff they got going on. So if you have a restaurant, maybe you're the owner or you want to say, hey, I know the spot where y'all should go. It's mom and pop. Check them out and then hit them up. How can somebody get a hold of y'all? Can they email suggestions or anything?
Well, and my email address and Jake's email address is in the paper each month. And as well, you can also submit online as well, just to baynews@communityimpact.com. That's another way to do it.
Okay, cool. And how can they access that? Just from communityimpact.com, and then you can find this edition?
You can. Yeah, every one of our editions are online. So,
last time we talked, you guys were there's papers like this all over Texas, correct?
Well, we just launched our 31st paper. We have 5 more to go this year. We're all over Texas. We're basically Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth area, and of course all over Houston. And then we're in Tennessee and Arizona as well now.
Wow.
So we've really expanded. We made top 25 Forbes small business this year. So that's exciting.
Isn't it a little weird though? Like, it's paper. It's news paper. Most people are getting away from the paper industry. Like, people have said it's a dying industry, right?
Well,
but you guys are growing.
We're growing, and we mail 2.6 million copies a month now. So
how are y'all breaking that trend? Like, what's the secret to success?
It's local news. People care about where they live. They want to have information about where they live, whether it's new restaurants opening, all the things we did, and it's been fine-tuned over the years. I mean, we've been around 14 years, so. But they want the information about their community, the transportation, the features and things about what they care about, and that's what that formula is successful.
So it's that hyper local,
absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And we've found that too. Whenever you talk about stuff going on in the backyard or stuff people care about, or someone trying to make a difference, you feature that. People care. You don't want to. I mean, people will read and see what's going on the other side of town, but it's different. I've
worked. We've worked both the Clear Lake and the League City Business Expos recently, and it was nonstop. People coming by, going, "Give me Impact. I love you guys. I read it cover to cover." So we know people are reading it. We hear it all the time, and we know it's why. It's because it's information they care about. So
I got you. And this is a comment from one of our listeners and someone watching on Facebook. They said, "Hey, I'd love to put our business on the publication. Is that something where they can sponsor or have like a paid spot or something like that?"
Well, there's different, depending on what was the question. They wanted to run an ad or they wanted a feature on them?
Well, maybe either one. I'm just wondering if y'all do ads and.
Oh, we'll absolutely do ads. What carries our paper, it's free to everybody in the mailbox, and the reason it's free is because our advertisers are covering the cost of the publication, so it's free to the readers. So absolutely, print ads are the way to go. As we grow that's how we grow page count to cover more businesses, cover more things going on in the community and all that. So that's the growth there. We always are looking for suggestions for business features for, like I said, it has to be local, no franchises, because we want to grow the local mom and pop. So anniversary sometimes helps drive it, big anniversaries and stuff if you have a business that way. It doesn't always have to, though. Mm-hmm. We try to go look at, like we know we're going to do a pet supply place, pet store in probably October, because we haven't done that. So we try to look at areas of town to make sure we're covering everything, as well as types of businesses that we feature. So,
do y'all ever have to deal with people who get upset about random things in the story, or hey, you covered them and not me? And how do you handle that?
We really don't, because we're not, as I call it, pay to play. If you buy an ad, we're not doing. It doesn't mean you're getting a story. We don't do that. That's what I think makes us so popular and people read us, is because it's very obvious when that happens. So we won't do that. We get our responses we're very balanced in anything we do. And of course, everybody wants a story done, would like a story done on them. But really, I mean, there's a lot of things we look into before we will do that, but we'll always take suggestions and story ideas, feature stories. I mean, like when Exploration Green, they had stopped some of the work on it for a couple of weeks. We had several readers reach out to us and say, "Hey, do you realize they're not doing anything right now?" We investigated and we did a story on it. So we get tips for things like, from our readers, but we want those because we try to be everywhere. I think we have a pretty good handle, but there's always things we don't know that's going on,
I think I saw some posts, this was a while back, like maybe even last year, where there was a story and y'all were kind of asking like, hey, if you have any information about this, kind of reaching out to.
Well, we'll do that because part of, we want to get the local, we try to if we're looking at a story, and that's what some of the editors as well, other editors that edit the stories for us will say, hey, we need a perspective from this person. It could be like in the Collar Road, a female's perspective that lived in the area at the time. So they'll look at things to try to make sure we're balanced and representing all sides to things. So sometimes we'll have to reach out and say, hey, we want to comment about what's going on with the special ed program at CCISD. We want your feedback. I'll post that on Nextdoor. I'll post that, where we try to post it where we can to get the feedback, to get different perspectives.
I got you. Curt, as a former news reporter, whenever you would, reach out and ask for people, I know you always check sources and you have to double check. What is that like?
It's terrible.
Why?
It's the worst. Well, so I'll kind of give some insight. So last night, I Monday nights, Tuesday nights, I help out TJ at I-45 now. And there was a thing that took place this weekend in Galveston where they were arresting somebody, used a rope.
A lot of people. I think a lot of people
have seen that, right?
Yeah.
And so last night, one of the candidates who will be running for the Texas 14th seat, Adrienne Bell, I believe is her name. Okay. She held a rally down in downtown Galveston, saying hey, we're not going to have this. This shouldn't take place. This is 2019. Whatnot. Well, she's running for office. We can't air her soundbite without having somebody from having Randy Weber's.
So what about
comment.
my time? Yeah.
Right. So then on top of that, then I have to watch. Okay, if I post the entire statement from Randy Weber, then I have to post the entire interview from Adrienne Bell. Just to make sure
making sure it's even.
Even. So it's okay, if I'm going to use a sound, or even in the post, if I post Randy Weber's comment, then I have to. It's dumb for me. I don't care. I don't care about politics. I get it. You have to be fair to both sides, and you can't endorse. But I find those minutia things ruin news. I think it's. Yeah.
Well, it's important to be fair and, unbiased, and we touched on that, and that's, what happened down in Galveston. I don't want to talk about it too much.
Right. No,
at all, because we want to focus on the positive, but that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen in 2019. And there are some policy changes. I don't know what the policy was or before what it's going to be, but you need to, treat people humanely, and we're going to support that.
Absolutely.
But I will. People get on you if you show. Especially in local news. Now, national news, they're going to do whatever they want because they don't care, But on the local level, when you're a local newspaper or a local news organization, you have to be on your A game in some of those situations because it can ruin your paper. It can ruin a reporter. For all of those reasons.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough. I mean, that's why we make sure we look at every aspect of a story as much as possible we can. We're trying to get the different angles because of that. You want to make sure, we get our feedback as people, we really don't get the negative on our stories because I think we do a great job of being balanced and all that. I get as funny example is there's a group of, I think it's about 10 or 12 couples that get together like a progressive dinner. So they decided on one of their dinners they were going to evaluate community impact. And so they sent a nice, we love this, we love this, we love this. And then they got to one story that said, we think you should have used a different color scheme. And I'm thinking, you guys have way too much time on your hands. But the engagement from the reader is good. And so I think it is hard to balance that. You're right. We have a lot of checks and balances in ours to make sure we're covering things unbiased, to make sure we've got as many angles as we can, so we don't have somebody coming back to us and saying, it's not even.
I have found this, and maybe it's because I'm a very, very influential person.
It could be.
But
easily influenced?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because here's the thing. When I was in college, I went to a Midwest college that was private, so a lot of it was very liberal, and there was a lot of Democratic people around in the community, right? So my views mainly lined up with Democrats at that time, and it was so funny to think about those things. Looking back now, I never came out and said these are the topics and issues that I around, but I was around that. Moved to Texas, it's a little bit different down here than Midwest. There's a little bit probably more Republican, conservative kind of views and values in our communities. Not saying either one is right or wrong, but I would say now more so I can see those kind of things.
You see both sides.
You see both sides now. But if you only grew up, in a conservative environment,
what you're exposed
you're going
to
to see those kind of things versus if you grew up in a liberal environment, you're going to see some of those kind of things. Neither one is right or wrong, I think, but you have to take a step back. I've never been, until we started probably doing the radio station, to take a step back and kind of look at those things. And I think that's intriguing. As a newspaper and a journalist, you have to do that. You have to take a step back every time you do a story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, we have to be able to answer the question, why do the readers care? How are we balancing it? Why, what are we missing to make it balanced? And if so, and then sometimes I step in if Jake's having a hard time getting hold of somebody. I try a different angle, see who we know to, and stuff like that. But we work hard to try to make it balanced because we know it needs to be.
Is there ever anything that you'll cover on a national level or a bigger level, or it's always going to be?
No, I mean, the biggest that you'll see will be something that's Harris County because of having the Clear Lake zip codes be Harris County. That's as large as we'll go on something like that. What you may see sometimes is, like, as a newspaper group, we'll do healthcare. We have a healthcare section we did in June. We do it once. It kind of features a lot of so sometimes we'll have a shared story idea. Like we did CBD oils and the growth of those. Well, several papers did it, but then they localized it. What is it to this community? What stores are opening? What, getting the local feedback for each one. So those are sometimes how we'll go a little bigger on that. But, we won't go outside of Harris County because it's really we're hyper-local. And that's everybody, you can get your national news in a lot of places.
Exactly. I like that. That's what we do with try and do the positive stuff.
Positive is easy. I don't understand. There are organizations that want to take negatives. They want to put out advertisements with curse words in them. And
if I'd have known Curt was getting on a soapbox and ranting all day, I would have muted his mic a long time ago. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm just saying I don't understand. It's so much easier to just stay positive.
Well, here's the thing, Curt. that appeals to some people, and
I don't get it.
At the end of the day, so with community impact, Kathy was saying, hey, this is what our viewers, this is what our readers, this is what they want to see, and we're gonna something that applies to them. There's people out there. Not everybody is you, Eldridge. Miss Turner over here or me. So there's people that are different than us, and there's a spot for everybody. That's what there's a spot for everybody at the table. There's enough news to go around. Trust me. There's a lot of stories out there. I'm sure you've seen in a year.
Oh yeah, it's been we've covered a lot of really, really good stories. We see. I said I wondered early on. I was like, gosh, are we gonna run out of good stories? But there's just always something going on in our community. So I don't think that'll ever be the case.
Okay, we got 20 seconds, and we're going to go on the FM. And then, in the past year, I'm going to ask if there's anything that sticks out, like any of those stories that are like, wow, that one sticks with me for whatever reason.
Okay.
And we can talk about that if that's okay. So, we got 10 seconds. If you're watching on Facebook, thank you. Feel free to share this. Let us know, hey, have you checked out Community Impact? It's going to be in your mailbox on Friday. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
It's 9:36, and we have Kathy Turner from Community Impact in studio. Kathy, good morning. How are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. It's Wednesday. Trying to keep things positive, having a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this comment here from Jordan. I think it's going to tie into the awesome segment that we're going to have here with Kathy Turner. I would rather read from a local magazine with positive reads. Sometimes I don't like getting on social media because they have too much negativity.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's very true.
I agree with that. So Community Impact, it's local. It's hyper-local. And y'all have been around for how long?
1 year. Our 1 year anniversary is this August issue.
Is there going to be a big party?
No, we haven't done the party. We're just been too busy trying to get the news out. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So you're not going to have a mat or a rug here that says 10,000 likes? You're not going to have hey, we made our 1 year rug?
Maybe we should. I don't know. Yeah. Work in progress, I guess.
Right.
We did not make that, by the way.
Okay.
Sometimes people, a lot of people
brought
just drop stuff off. Everything in here is just randomly been dropped off, including our intern. So
basically, he was my sister.
So in the past year, y'all, I'm sure I've seen a lot of stories, have met a lot of people. Are there any stories that stick out for any different reasons, and what are they? Can we learn about them?
Well, probably our first one that we did on 146 we really took the first look at what was going to happen to 146 before it started the construction what the vision is for that. We got so much great feedback on that. So from that standpoint, and that was interesting because that was kind of the first time we had to look at we're 146, that's Seabrook and KHEA, we don't technically distribute to. So that was one of the first things we had to look at is like, this is important to the community. It's not in our zip code, but it's important to the community. So being able to do that right there was different for community impact for any of the other papers. And then one of the funny ones I thought was interesting, we did a great profile on University of Houston Clear Lake and all the growth that they're having. And so one of the things we're known for is our stats and all the pretty graphics and things that we do. But it was kind of funny. My contact over there called me. She said, she said, all my department heads are really mad at me about that story. And I'm like, why? What happened? What's going on? She started laughing. She said, they all thought the marketing department was holding out on them on the graphics and all the stats and stuff. And they said, no, this was community impact putting these numbers together. So now they all use these numbers that we had put together for the story in the, for these different departments. So it was just things like that's unique kind of things I thought was fun. But
cool.
And of course, our story in July, the 50th anniversary look for the future, I think was very well done. The graphics are fantastic for it.
Who does those graphics? Is that in-house?
So we have, we have a whole department that does graphics. And then there's a graphic designer, Justin Howell's mine, and he's assigned to our paper. So there's a whole process. We determine what stories are feature stories going to be, and then we have kind of a preliminary graphic session where we kind of start bouncing around ideas. The editor comes with ideas of what he thinks a good graphic could be based on what the angle of the story. Our graphic person, they start talking, and then we get together about a week later and really hash out what we think, this is what we need to show. Because we want to do the graphics so somebody, if they're not really detail-oriented, they don't want to read the entire story, they can get the visual gist from the graphics.
I got you. What does it look like putting this publication together? Because I've seen it in TV shows and movies. There's like a newsroom, there's a storyboard, and everybody's like, everybody go get a story. Who has an idea? We got to get something that's going to be great. What does it look like?
Well, we do a planning session each month. So before really basically once we put, like we just this past Friday sent the issue coming out this coming Friday to bed. So that Monday we meet and we talk about kind of flush out. We've already looked 3 months in advance on stories we want to do. So we kind of go back to that and make sure timing, sometimes you switch things. This might be better next month, that kind of thing. So we look at that, but we look at what we think are the most important from a timely fashion and all that as well. And so we'll look at that and we'll bounce around and make sure we know talk about the different angles we need to cover. Why this is important for the readers to know and what, that kind of thing. So we do that. And then we look at, what stories are coming up this week. Because we post stories online on Facebook and push out as well. So we look at that and what are going to be a good city, county, stories and things like that. So the different areas, who's our business feature, who's our restaurant feature, we work through all of that. And then we look, obviously, future as well. But we try to see if there's a delay, should we delay? And what is a big story? Like what's coming out Friday, we talk about the Grand Parkway and how that, we're trying to keep that going and not, and get the funding, keep the funding
right.
instead of it and all that. So we look at really timely things as well.
I've seen a lot about the Grand Parkway lately, and I guess it's supposed to go all the way down to 96, but I've seen some proposed changes, and there's a lot of stuff. Do you have any insight on what's going on?
Well, right now what we're talking about is that the proposed budget cuts that TxDOT wants to do would not finish the portion that we really need. From a safety, that's another exit route for hurricanes and all that. So there's been a group of people that have gone to really try to plead the case in Austin
this
to
week,
get it.
Right? Aren't they up
this
there?
week,
yeah.
And I think a decision will be made around the end of August is what for the vote and all that. So.
Why is that a big deal? Because first of all, I don't know if I want to go all the way down to Lake Charles just to get around Houston, but why is that a big deal for us?
Well, it's easier right now. It's just another evacuation route for Galveston and all that. You would catch it where you would be catching it connected to, and all that is another route out. So that's why it's important.
It would unclog our main, I-45. And man, well, Curt, you weren't here for Ike. Was it Ike in 2009?
There's Harvey and then Ike. Yeah, Ike.
Man,
but it was
Ike
just
was
like
nuts.
it took 8 hours, almost 8 hours for us to go from Clear Lake to Sugar Land.
Yeah, it was
evacuate.
like a 24-hour trip for a lot of people to try and get out of Houston. So another major evacuation route would be huge to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
that would save some time and some potential lives because some people are like, I'm not going to sit
But how long is it's going to be 20, 30 years before it's ready, right?
Oh, it's not. I've got to look at that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's not that. It won't be that long. Dude, it's the last portion.
They finished 646 and way ahead of schedule. What are you talking about? We'll get those guys to just knock out the Parkway and the weekend or something. But I'm so glad 646 is open now. You know, is that something else you'll cover, like the I-45 construction?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that could be an every month feature.
Well, in our transportation page, it's pretty much a constant on I-45. There's something. And then we look at off-road ones that, you know, like El Dorado, they're going to expand El Dorado starting in September. So the ones that aren't going to be covered by typical news outlets. So we focus on those as well. But yes, there's always, you know, the I-45 updates.
Awesome. So right now it's 9:44. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. We're talking to Kathleen Turner from Community Impact, the Bay Area edition. And we are excited to learn about, hey, what's coming up in the future. So we were just talking about the celebration. It's 1 year. What do you see happening in this next year and then in the future for Community Impact?
Well, ultimately, as we're growing and our page count is growing, we want to add distribution. The goal is to add the rest of KHEA, because we have Clear Lake Shores portion right now, add the rest of KHEA and all of Seabrook to our distribution. And then I think we'll be ultimately, which should get us to close to about 90,000 distribution for the paper.
Where are you at right now? Like
64,000.
64,000? Mm-hmm. That's a lot of mailboxes.
It is. And that's so one of our taglines is everybody gets it. You understand the content, so you get it that way, and you get it in your mailbox. So if we're going to do it, we absolutely everybody in that area gets it.
You know, how big has Jake been for you guys? I remember you talking about him, you know, last year, and it seems like he has his hand in everything.
Yeah, he's great, and people respect him. I hear all the time. They laugh. I always joke about the guys in League City. They voted him the best hair in League City.
He has great hair. I was going to bring that up.
I always joke. It's usually the bald guys in League City that comment about the hair, all the jealousy and stuff. But he's very recognizable. He jokes about that and stuff. For some reason, people recognize me. But he's fantastic. He's very good at covering the stories. He could not have asked for a better editor. So
cool. The editor role there at Community Impact. This is KHEA. We're excited to talk about everything that's going on in our area, and this is a big deal. That's this publication coming out.
One of the things do you guys use like InDesign, or what kind of software are you guys using when you guys are creating this paper?
Like the layout?
Well, we actually, that's one of the things I think was really interesting about Community Impact is gone in and we recreate our own stuff. So just like our CRM systems, you know, that we have everything's our own system. So we created our own system that we used for design because because we found what you find a lot of times, you find different things that are good, but nothing's really quite the right fit for it. So that's what, you know, kind of what we have done is we created our own.
So all Community Impact use that same software?
Yeah, they all. So there's guidelines they go by and all that for certain visuals and things. And you'll probably see if you looked at our paper from last year going on that our graphics got better and more adventure, you know, things like that as it grew, you know, different things. There's different designs and the other papers that have been around longer. You learn from what you see they're doing. Go, ooh, that looks really good. I think when you see our issue this Friday, it's so colorful. I mean, there's so many pretty colors. It's just funny. It's just got a lot of great colors. We also plotted like beat the heat kind of thing. So ice cream places, no offense to Baskin Robbins, but no chains. We did the locals. You know, the Snowball Hut, margaritas to go, different things. But we use a lot of really cool colors and pretty colors and stuff. So it's a very colorful issue.
Before she leaves, there's still 2 pending questions that need to happen. And I know that we got about 13 minutes. So I just want to give you
go. No.
The first one, when are we going to get a Community Impact in Lamarck?
That has been a burning question for you.
It has. I've been itching all day trying to get it out of my system.
We need to get more people demanding that news down here.
Yeah, well, it's funny. And I think I mentioned it last time I was here, that Baytown, we have a group that keep trying to get us to go to Baytown as well. I don't know the answer to that. We are expanding, but there's a lot of factors that we go in and do the focus groups and do the studies to make sure there's enough local business to support it, because that's really what we're trying to. It works both ways to be able to help them grow with them and reach everyone. So there's a lot of factors in it. So I don't see Lamarck ever being added to my paper. It would have to be off on its own because it wouldn't fit into ours. But
Galveston, or like the mainland or something, you could call it Community Impact Mainland.
Just say Community Impact Galveston County mainland, just like the United Way, Galveston County mainland.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
What was your other question?
My other question is when is Gardy going to get it right in the paper? Like that's, I mean,
She already gave an answer.
Well,
I gotta submit. Yeah.
I need a yes.
I got to submit the writing.
Oh,
I'm
come
not the
on.
final say. We have people that are a lot better at editing than I am that look at the samples.
Are you talking about Jake?
Well, no, Jake's not the one. We actually is higher up that helps us go through the applicants that want to do freelance writing.
That's
for
cool.
us. So,
Hey, I know you were talking about earlier how, whenever y'all write something, you got to make sure it's put together, and then you put it up and pop it up to make sure that everybody's cool with it. So it's kind of like that, right?
yeah.
Okay. Is that's all you
gotta
got?
be
Huh?
hard. Those are the only two burning questions that I had.
No, I could say it's not. I mean, having more eyeballs on a story helps you.
Oh,
And
I
so,
hate it.
I know. Well, Jake does a great job. So it's usually opinions things that they'll suggest that make sense. Hey, what about this angle? Or what did you think? Can you find somebody? And you can't always, but can you find somebody that says this, to help support this side of the story or whatever?
Right.
And stuff. So there's really always really good suggestions. His edit, I mean, he's a great writer. So they're editing, it's minor things that they ever change, but it's usually very good suggestions that just things that they've seen that they've done over the 14 years.
Gotcha. Hey, we have about 8 minutes left. Can we talk a little bit about your background, how you ended up at Community Impact again?
Okay. Well, so I used to work at let's say I started from newspaper side of things. I went to work at the Houston Post and was there for a little over 3 years before it went under. And Gloria said, I joked, nothing like losing your job and it makes national news. So all your relatives from all over the country know you're unemployed. So that was fun. But got a lot of sympathy calls on that. But then went to go work at the Houston Chronicle. So I was at the Chronicle for 18 years. And I worked in the national department. I worked in retail most of the way and was also over the Clear Lake office out here in the community for probably close to 15 of my 18 years at the Chronicle. And then went to Texas Monthly. So I bounced a little bit, went to Texas Monthly for about 4 years, and then was approached about Community Impact. And they'd reached out to me before, and I had just gone to Texas Monthly, and I'm like, thanks, guys, but I'm really happy where I'm at. Got here and stuff. So I don't know if they were waiting for me or what, but they circled back around and it came together perfectly.
Well, that's awesome because it kind of, that job experience with, hey, a monthly publication, and then there's obviously the Chronicle and something that comes out, a lot more frequently. You're able to combine all that past.
It says ink is in my blood.
Yeah.
That's what we say. So
that's cool. Is it easy to, I'm sure like the way the Chronicle runs things is way different than Community Impact, or is it a little bit more similar than I would maybe think?
Well, I think the difference is the Chronicle has, have the daily, and then you have the weekly papers they do. But each weekly is still really, like as a sales manager when I was over the South office, I really didn't have any say on the editorial at all. It was just like, hey, you'd give them a press release if you got one and said, hey, you hope for the best. You didn't have any of that interaction with them. What's nice about Community Impact is we work it as a team. So we're looking at making sure, whether we do that everybody's on the same page. And I'm not telling Jake what to write. We're discussing what we think is important for the community to write. He comes with story ideas. I come with story ideas. We work and say, this is great. This won't work because of this or whatever. And so we work as a team. That's really, I think, the difference is the local input that we're getting at Community Impact that I didn't really ever have an opportunity to give at the Chronicle.
Okay, with Community Impact, going forward, if there was one thing y'all could add in the next year, what would it be?
For my paper?
Sure.
I would say my goal is to get a reporter for Jake. Because to be able, once we add a reporter, and that's what we're working towards now, once we get a reporter, then that really allows us to then be able to cover KHEA and Seabrook because we go to all the city council meetings. So if I don't want Jake quitting on me all these, 500 meetings to go to all the time to cover because that's what we do is we make sure we're covering. School district doesn't change, but additional meetings. So that's my goal within the next, hopefully 6 months at the most. I want to be able to have a reporter for him. So then we can expand our coverage.
There's a lot that goes on in the community, when
Absolutely.
you're talking about, city council meetings, you're talking about school board meetings.
We go to all of them. Yeah.
It can add up with the amount of time that you're doing stuff.
But it's nice whenever that information is more accessible now that we have the internet, now that we have publications like Community Impact, and then I-45 Now, and then the other publications as well that are covering this hyper-local news so you can see it and you don't have an excuse to be like, oh, I didn't know. Because before I could say people probably didn't know.
Well, so if he covers a city council meeting, there's almost always a story from League City coming out. So he puts it out that night online. And then depending on the story, sometimes they're only just web stories, but other times we put that out and then we really go deeper for then it's in the next issue. And
like, what does this mean? Breaking it down.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Some things can be covered in just this was passed or whatever, whatever was passed at city council meeting or school district or whatever. But other times we get a lot of great story ideas from things to elaborate on from whether it's the school district and, and looking at timelines. And that's one of the things we'll look at is when we think the timing of results will be. September, we're doing our education issue, and that's all the stats for the schools from scores, all the scoring, testing, and all that comes out in August. But we wait and publish in September because we want to be able to break it down. So what does it mean? And then we're also looking at the realignment for the schools and what is that, some of the things, what's that addressing? And so all those kind of things. So we look, but we kind of timeline things, looking at when special ed report was coming out. We make sure, so those are things, we look at the year ahead. And that's what we do in January with it. When you see, if you looked at our January issue and you saw what we think are the top really 10 stories of the year, we follow those throughout the year. And all that to follow back up because we don't just write about it once, you never hear about it again.
Right.
We go from start to finish, and sometimes it's 2 to 3 times. Or as as you see with the spaceport, that's going to be ongoing as there's really good updates and things like that for us for the next few years.
Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
Oh, just that we love our readers, and I want the feedback, and let us know how we're doing. Send story ideas, comments. We love to hear that. We want to hear the stories.
So one of the things we got our next guest is going to be Dickinson ISD, and they're going to be talking about getting kids ready for school. As a newspaper, what are you telling kids to get ready for school? What are you doing for education?
Well, we cover education every month, whether it's a feature story or not. There's always something going on with education. So we're usually, our case is updating the parents on issues that are whether it's what was being discussed about with the zoning, with changing for zoning of schools, or, discussions that come up about should the time for high school, for start get pushed back, things like that. So we cover those kind of things. We're not necessarily saying, for school shopping or whatever. That's not really school supplies. We don't really do that necessarily, but it's really, we're educating why is it important. And education, whether you have kids in school or not, it's important to the community. It's good from a resale for homes, all sorts of things. So we cover it as a broad that way every month.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. You're awesome. And be on the lookout this Friday. The new issue, Community Impact, is going to be dropping on Friday.
I won't be able to get it because
I'll let you borrow mine.
It's still not in Lamarck yet.
I'll let you
go
borrow
by the
mine.
chamber offices. Clear Lake of Lake City have extra copies.
I got to drive all the way to Lake City.
Kurt, I'll let you borrow mine.
Okay.
This is KHEA. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about school. Going back in, specifically Dickinson. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, thank you.
Kathy, thank you so much.
Welcome.
And we need to get with you. Hopefully, maybe we could do some stuff with the Talk of Taco cook-off.
When is that now?
October 12th.
Okay, so we'd need to...
Like September issue.
Yeah,
that's
what we're working on now.
We're hoping to have sponsors and cook-off teams still.
Typically what we'll do is a trade for an ad to help promote the event.
That's cool.
We
don't because we don't have to do cash. I guess that's why we don't do cash, because typically people want to promote an event through us, and that's what.
Let's go.
Woohoo.
So Kurt got me this the other day,
Oh my gosh.
and I think he's trying to tell me something. Like, I'm really worried. So y'all be on the lookout for me, making sure. That's why I'm carrying this around, just in case he's tried anything. So
Keep him in line.
yeah, he's a trip.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. See ya.
See ya.
So a couple things to go over before we bring you in. The closer you are to the microphone, the better.
What's up? What's up, folks? How is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing okay. I'm doing pretty good. Elders, you doing okay?
Yep.
Okay, they can see you. You got that camera shut on? All right, good. Man, Kurt's mic. I muted him. But yeah, the Grim Reaper, yes, that is exactly what that is. And meanwhile, he got himself this really cool, like, Godzilla dinosaur guy. But he looks awesome. So, either way, I guess I'm happy we have these little cool studio ornaments. We're going to be talking about Dickinson education, how you can help make a difference. I believe it's the Education Foundation, but we're going to find out for sure. School's about to start. Are you ready? If you're a parent, there's two ways of thinking. Either, oh my gosh, please take my kids back to school, or, oh man, I'm going to miss my sweet babies. I can't manage to have them go to kindergarten for the first time, So let me know, are you excited for your kids to go back to school, or are you kind of dreading, like, I don't want to have to go school shopping, got to go get school supplies. I don't want them to leave the house because for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe they're really plugged into doing chores or they're perfect angels and they're having a great time in summer or staying active. But yeah, school's starting, whether you like it or not. It's the law. They have to go. I was talking to Curt about it. Whenever we were kids, like whenever he was a kid, I was like, Curt, whenever you were a kid, did you like going back to school? He said, yeah, for the first day, because I had my first day back to school outfit and I was trying to keep it on point. For me, I think I was kind of the same way, like trying to make sure that I kept my day one outfits good. And then after that, I'm just like, okay, now I have to really do this. I have to keep going to school. Yeah. So dress code for girls is tough to shop for. That's probably true. I went to a Abundant Life Christian school, and everybody, boys and girls, wore the exact same thing. You had to wear a polo T-shirt, or not a T-shirt, but a polo, button up with a collar, and then you had to wear khaki pants. And tuck your shirt in.
See, I don't understand. Like, I know we're talking to a public school. I went to a public school. I never went to a private school.
Did y'all have dress code?
No. Well, I mean, there was a certain way that you had to dress, like if there were issues with like spaghetti straps and stuff like that.
Kurt, you can't wear your spaghetti straps to public school, Kurt.
I wanted to.
Hey, we have a guest. How are you doing? What's your name?
Tammy Dowdy, Director of Communications for Dickinson ISD.
Cool. So Dickinson ISD, when does Dickinson ISD go back to school?
We start week after next on Monday, August the 19th.
August 19th, that's whenever Abundant Life goes back to school too. That's where my son goes currently. And I was asking people who are watching, are you excited for your kids to go back to school to get them out of the house or for any other reason, or are you dreading it? I already got a comment saying school traffic, and then shopping for girls back to school maybe can sometimes be a chore. Do you have any kids yourself?
I have one, but she's already graduated. She'll be a sophomore in college this next year.
Where does she go?
She's at Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches.
What's she going for?
Teaching elementary education.
That's awesome.
So, she wants to do education just like you.
Yeah.
Lumberjacks, right? Is that the Lumberjacks?
Lumberjacks, yes.
Okay, cool. Do we need teachers in Dickinson, and I guess in our area?
We're always looking for great teachers. That's a big focus that we have, is recruiting and retaining good quality teachers. We have all of our new teachers back this week going through trainings, and they're all excited that yesterday was their first day back and come in there all pumped for the new school year. So.
They were pumped, or were they like, man, I needed to go to the beach a couple more times?
No, they were actually very excited. So
well, I'm wondering if it's like the kids. Like, you're excited for the first day because you're like, oh, I got my new outfit, get to see my friends. And then second day, you're like, oh, man, this is only the second day of school. We have like so many left. Are the teachers, they're pretty enthusiastic the entire time?
They are right here at the beginning of the year. They, they're ready to go. They're ready to see their kids, meet new kids, get everything going.
I have to say, I've taught at 3 different school systems. 3 different schools. I taught in Vermont, taught at the private school here, and then taught in HISD at Chavez High School. And the first day was always amazing. And then the second day, when you're like, oh, I have to sit through another 4-hour meeting. That was when I was like, oh, come on, just let the kids get here so I don't have to sit through these meetings again, right?
We have some exciting stuff for them planned. So we try to mix it up a little bit so it's not just all day of sitting in meetings. We have some trainings planned where they rotate between different sessions and some exciting things planned in there. So we always try to come up with some neat ways to keep them engaged and learning and excited about the new year.
So here's a comment. This is from Clover. It's Mayor Bobby Hawking's daughter. She said, go Gators. We're a Gator family.
Yes, we are very Gator proud.
There's a lot of Gator pride, huh?
Yes. That is one thing very unique about Dickinson is everyone in the district is a Gator. A lot of school districts, every school is a different mascot, different colors, but everyone in Dickinson is a Gator, and everyone is blue. So after one of our board president actually mentioned to new teachers yesterday, he says, check your blood here in a few weeks, and you will be bleeding Gator blue.
Wow.
So we are Gator proud.
Is that a reality check to some teachers, maybe first-time teachers or coming from a different school district, realizing like, well, no, these people are legit, like they are very proud to be a Gator?
It is a unique situation that you can find, but it also is it's steeped in tradition. Everyone comes out for football games. Everyone's excited about the new year, getting everything going. You'll go to a football game. You'll go to a graduation, and you have people there that don't even have kids in school anymore, but they are going to the Friday night football game. They're going to graduation just to be part of that community tradition.
Wow. So what's your background as far as teaching? How'd you get into this field?
I'm actually not a teacher. I have been in education for 22 years, but all in just school public relations. So I was in Pasadena ISD for 7 years, and then I've been in Dickinson for 14.
All right. So we're going to go on the FM right now. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. That was Hillsong United.
I love that song.
And this is Kickstart. My name's Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And we have a special guest in studio. We were talking to Kathy Turner earlier about community impact. It's a hyperlocal news publication, newspaper that's talking about really cool things going on in our area. So we wanted to share about it. Again, they're just celebrating 1 year.
1 year, and anything that we can do to spread positivity. And one of the things I think that is tied into community positivity is you have to have education.
Education. It's so important, right?
It's one of the backbones, I think, of any community, because Friday night football, you're going to the pep rally, the kids are taking their, the PTA sugar cookies, stuff like that. There's so much that revolves around
Curt,
high schools and education that makes it a community.
You talk about the Friday night lights. You talk about the sugar cookies, and you talk about the pep rallies, but you didn't talk about like math. You didn't talk about science. You didn't talk about all the other things that are offered.
Okay, also the time when they go to science camp and light off the
Fireworks,
rockets,
or what are you
right?
talking
The
about?
rockets, right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
So we have a guest in studio. Can you introduce yourself and say your role there at Dickinson ISD?
Hi, I'm Tammy Dowdy. I'm Director of Communications for Dickinson ISD.
And we were talking just for a bit before we went on the FM. How long have you been in the education field, and how'd you get into it?
I have a degree in radio, television, and minor in journalism, so I went into school public relations. Been in that for 22 years. I was in Pasadena ISD in their communications department for a little over 7 years, and I've been here in Dickinson for the past 14.
Where did you go to college?
At University of Houston.
That's awesome. And then you chose, broadcasting and news and media pretty much.
I had always loved teaching and communications, so this was kind of a great way to merge both of those things that I had grown up liking. So
that's cool. How did you choose that? I mean, we meet a lot of people every day, and there's not a lot of people who went to school to pursue, that path. What do you know? Is there like a moment in life, or is there someone you looked up to and be like, man, I really like what they're doing. This is what I want to go to school for, or just, watching movies or anything at all? What?
When I was in college, at University of Houston, I worked for a small local newspaper in LaPorte, the Bayshore Sun, and so we did a lot of work with LaPorte ISD at that time, and so I got to work with their school public relations person a lot, and it was a neat thing that she got to do to publicize all the great things that the students were doing, and I always thought that was kind of a neat idea, and so when that opportunity arose a few years later, then it was exciting.
That's awesome. Being in that role, I assume sometimes there's hard questions that are asked, from parents or from the community. What is it like being able to juggle and answer those questions, as best as you are able to?
I won't lie. Some days it's hard. We have a lot of requirements that we have to meet for student issues to make sure that we don't give out information about student privacy. There's a lot of rules with FERPA that we have to follow. So we ask parents to be understanding about that. But our priority is the students and keeping that information confidential if it's supposed to be confidential.
One of the things that I wanted to know is, why did you choose Dickinson to work in that district?
We live down in this general area, and so that opportunity came up when they had an opening 14 years ago, and so I liked the idea of the small town traditions. I grew up in LaPorte where it was like that a lot, where we were a one high school town, and
Bulldogs,
so
right? LaPorte Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs, yes.
Yeah.
And so it was very similar to Dickinson in that respect, where everyone came out for the football games, and so I grew up around that, and so I thought that would be fun to be able to share those good things that the students are doing and the teachers as well.
Man, I was expecting you to say like you cut yourself one day and it was blue and you're like, oh, I got to work for Dickinson now.
Now, it bleeds blue now.
Yeah, your shirt is straight up Dickinson Gator
go Gators.
blue, right? Cool. So, you're from LaPorte, ended up going to school for this, working in Pasadena, and then saw an opportunity to come down this way, and it just was an opportunity you couldn't pass up.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then you said 14 years you've been here? You've probably seen a lot of stuff that's happened in that past time. What kind of things do you have to deal with on a daily basis?
That's the one thing about this job is that no day is ever the same. It's always something different. I mean, you have your usual things that you do, but every year students and teachers are coming up with new things that we get to publicize. We work on updating our website. We work with news media. We work on sharing information that's going on in the schools with the news media, all the fun, positive things that they're doing. We have social media that we do. We have special events with our dedications and groundbreakings for new schools. We're a fast growth school district in Dickinson. When I came to Dickinson, we had just over 6,000 students, and in the past 14 years, we're now just over 11,000.
One of the things that you guys went through 2 years ago was Hurricane Harvey. It was 2 years ago, right? Like 2017.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years ago in August.
And I remember one of the first things, I'm not from the area, so one of the first things that I saw right after Harvey, Dickinson went through all of that. It was kind of like the center point of some of that damage. But then I saw the football team, right, who lost down on some practice times, lost down on some games. And there was this video that they created of of Gator Nation kind of like showing up and, hey, we're going to fight for our team. We're going to, we're going to win these, we're going to play for our city. And that video got me like, oh yeah, let's go Gators, So I will always kind of associate Dickinson football to that moment of, hey, we're going to rise up after this. And I thought that was really kind of cool.
We have an awesome athletic director and head football coach, John Snelson, who got those football players going as soon as he could get them back together. Just a week or so after the storm, when everyone was still going through it, people were begging for a football game just because they wanted normalcy. They wanted something to take their mind off of everything going on with the hurricane. And so he got football going as fast as we could. We had the players, he got them organized to go out into the community and help, which was difficult because many of those players lost everything themselves. So, but they were focused on helping others, not just themselves, but focused on helping others.
Yeah, and Dickinson was hit really hard. A lot of the greater Houston area was affected in different pockets. But, whenever you look at the news and some of the footage, a lot of that was right there at 517. And there's a lot of people that still are not back to normal or even back in their home, and that has to affect a lot of the students there in the school district, right?
Of course. When we got back in there, we tried to get everything going as fast as we could. We have a great education foundation, and our executive director of that, Amanda Flannery, that with the help of others got a lot of things organized and going to get supplies and needs out to our community and our students and teachers. We had donations coming in from everywhere.
I think y'all's parking lot was even used for cooking and feeding and assisting, and I saw videos and pictures of that as well.
We had schools being used for our education support center we had clothing being distributed. We had a limited amount of food. We were giving out shoes. We were giving out supplies. So it was all hands on deck. Everyone who could possibly get up there to help got up there to help. And we started getting things out to the community, out to the students, out to teachers, starting organizing how to distribute all the donations that were coming in so they could best benefit our students and teachers that were affected.
It's hard to think about asking kids to come to school, after an event like that. You're maybe not living at home, maybe sleeping on the floor. Did it ever really get back to normal during that school year, or was it always kind of?
It gradually got back to normal. I mean, it of course took a little while, but for a lot of the students, they wanted to, for the same way that I mentioned with the football players, they wanted to get back to normal. They wanted all of their normal things. They wanted to go to school where they knew they could get 2 meals a day. They wanted to see their teachers. They wanted to see their friends. That meant something to them. And so we were doing our best to get school going as quickly as we possibly could. Took us a couple weeks, but we got it back and going just to give those students and teachers a chance to get back to normal a little bit.
You're listening to 99.5 FM KHEA Radio or KHEAradio.com. We're talking about education in Dickinson. One of the things that I think is important, start of the school year, what is going to be different this school year than in years past that parents and kids could kind of get ready for as they kind of bring into the new year?
We're changing our school times just a little bit. We're adding 10 minutes on to the school day. So our dismissal times are 10 minutes later than they were last year. That allows us to get a few extra minutes in the day so that we can build in extra weather days in the event of like a hurricane, or in the winter in the event of icy weather, things like that. Any other type of emergency that we had to cancel school, that we'll have, I think it's about 3 or 4 days built in.
Oh, that's awesome.
That we wouldn't have to make up in the event of something like that. And so this allows us to do that by just adding a few minutes to each school day.
Or if everything goes okay, then maybe let out 3 days earlier.
Well, it just gives them that extra instruction that a lot of times by the...
Good luck selling that to the kids. I can see him being happy, like, well, maybe we'll get out 3 days earlier, if something doesn't happen,
the worst when I was in Vermont? So we're in the middle of Vermont, right? Vermont's like, it's going to snow, right? There's going to be snow days. They don't build in snow days into their school calendar. I think it was something to do with like the school districts, like they were on some like probationary thing because of grades and whatnot, so they couldn't. So if it snowed and you had a snow day, you were making that up at the end of the school year. So like our summers, it was like, enjoy your summer, but you're going to have like a whole week or 2 less than what you would have because you had your snow days.
We need Tammy to call Vermont. Be like, Vermont, listen, I'm with Dickinson ISD, and here's what you need to do. Just 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes a day.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's easier than any infomercial, like, exercise just 10 minutes a day.
Here's the thing that I grew up in Nebraska, and I see this all the time, and it's weird to me, but school starts super early here. Like, it's like 7:30, isn't it? What time does school start?
Our high school starts at 7:15, and then our middle school and junior highs start, they're staggered about 45 minutes apart. I believe it's 7:55 for junior high and middle school, and then the elementary students will start at 8:35.
What time does the high school get out if they start at 7:15?
They'll get out at 2:35.
That's kind of nice, though.
See, that doesn't make any, like, I'm not getting up that early. Like,
when did you start, like 10 o'clock?
We would start at 8. I remember first class was at 8, and we would go until 3:15, and then sports practices was 4 to 6.
Okay.
One unique thing about Dickinson is that we provide bus transportation for all students, regardless of whether they live a block from the school or they live several miles from the school. And so in order to do that, we have to stagger those times because those buses will pick up all the high school students, get them to school, then they'll move on to middle school and junior high, and then to elementary. So you've got to stagger those times out to make sure you have those buses available for the next level.
So right now we're talking about Dickinson ISD. School's going back. It's starting on the 19th of August, I believe. Are you ready? Do you have your school supplies? Are you ready for your kids to leave the house and go back to school? Get them out the house.
Speaking of school buses, I was just thinking of this funny thing. When I was a news reporter, one of my first feature stories was about school bus safety, and I remember bringing it up to the news director. I'm like, but why would school bus safety be a big deal? Because you're only transporting the kids for sporting events. And she looks at me and she goes, This is Omaha. They take school buses to school. And I was like, school buses to school? Because
you would walk. You were really close.
Walk.
Yeah.
Walk, or you would drive yourself. That was the other thing. Like, I moved away from Nebraska, and I was like, wait, people don't start driving when they're 15. Like, not everybody has a car that, to drive themselves to school. Because in Nebraska, you bought a car when you were 15, and you were driving when you were 15, and you were going to school. That's what you did. But in other states, apparently, like, kids don't drive themselves to school.
Not everywhere. So in Dickinson, you mentioned that school bus transportation is offered to everybody.
Everyone.
Even like the little bitties, like the kindergarten?
Oh, of course, yes. Even starting at pre-K.
You know, one thing
That's awesome.
One thing I've noticed since growing up, whenever I was in kindergarten, it was like half a day. And then now that my son, you know, he finished kindergarten, but it was a full day. And I think there's a lot of different factors and reasons for that. Do y'all do half-day kindergarten?
We do half-day pre-K. It is kindergarten is full day, but pre-K is half-day.
Okay, cool.
And so we have a morning or an afternoon, so we'll have two different classes during the day.
Okay, for pre-K, because I can see how that could be hard for some parents. A lot of the times, you know, if it's a single parent, you know, and they're working or both parents work, you know, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be, you know, taken care of that I didn't even, you know, obviously as a kindergarten or years ago, I didn't think about that. I was the PM and I was happy about it. But yeah, 7:15 for high school. It's not that bad when you think about getting out early at 2:30.
But I'm not a morning person. Like, you know for a fact that I don't get here until 8:25 and we go on at 8:30.
That's true.
It's because I'm still waking up at 8 o'clock, you know? So 7:15, man, and here was the other thing. We also would go, like, have morning stuff. So, like, I remember we'd have morning weights starting at, like, 6. Then at 7 o'clock, we had swing choir and then school at 8. There's no doing, like, you're not lifting weights at, like, what, 5:30 in the morning?
Well, you weren't from Texas, and Texas football is a little bit different than Nebraska football.
True.
We would do, like, in junior high, we did 2-a-days. We would practice at 5 a.m. and then, like, go eat Kelly's Country Cooking, go to school, and then come back and practice later. No joke. But, yeah, dude, yeah, if you wanted to do it, you would do it. It's different.
We have lots of students that are involved in after-school activities. So when that school bell rings at 2:35, a lot of them are staying at the campus, participating in bands, sports,
baseball,
all kinds of choirs, sometimes cheerleading, everything, school clubs, organizations. So that high school is going from morning until night with different things going on.
Can you list all of the extracurricular activities that Dickinson ISD offers?
There is no way I could list everyone.
Is there anything random like fencing or something like that? I don't know.
Not fencing. We have robotics. We have all the fine arts. We have band, choir, drama. We have a huge drama department that puts on different musicals and plays during the year.
I can tell you one thing they don't have, and that's a radio station yet.
Oh,
we
that'd be
do
cool.
have Gator. It's not a radio station, but they do an awesome job. It's our Gator Media that cover the football games. They actually work in the press box. They film.
They commentate it?
They don't commentate it, but they do all the video of that on the field. They work in the press box and help up there. They run the scoreboard that we have, the video board. And so they get a lot of good hands-on experience with that they can take into their future careers.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we would love to work with some of the local football teams and football coaches. If there was someone who did commentate it, like if we had the audio, we could put it on our 99.5 FM. That's something that we've kind of been researching as much as we can in our free time. But, you know, football season's here, and a lot of people love football. They would tune in to listen. Maybe they can't make it to the game or climb the bleachers. There's a lot of reasons. But right now it's 10:21. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Kickstart's going to be on till 11. We're speaking to Tammy with Dickinson ISD. School's starting back August 19th. And I think my biggest thing, and I'm going to ask you, Tammy, whenever your daughter was in Dickinson ISD, or at least in high school and junior high, were you the parent who was excited, like, school's going back? Yes, you know, you need to go back. Let's go.
My daughter, actually, she loves schools. She liked participating in everything. So she was usually always excited about the beginning of the school year. She loved picking out those new school supplies and school clothes. So she was always excited about the new school year.
What kind of dress code is there? Is there a dress code at Dickinson ISD?
In Dickinson, we don't have like a uniform or anything like that. It's your normal dress code of, like y'all were talking about a little bit earlier, with, you know, no spaghetti straps, they can wear jeans, they can wear shorts up until in elementary and secondary they can't wear shorts, but it's the normal types of
like big holes,
stuff, no graphic. Inappropriate graphic on their t-shirts, things like that. So it's the normal kind of dress code that you would see.
Yeah. And y'all, how many teachers do y'all have there? Like in the entire district?
We have about 1,700 employees total, and about half of those are teachers. So
okay.
Any as good as Curt?
I hope so.
Dang!
I would hope they're at least better.
We have awesome teachers.
Yeah, that's cool. Teaching is something that comes up a lot. You'll see some stuff like, hey, teachers need school supplies, or they need things for the classroom. Is that something that that the ISD, I guess, builds into a small budget for them, but they always could use more? How does that work?
A lot of times to get the extra things that teachers need or the extra programs they want, our Education Foundation does a mini grant program for teachers that they can apply to do different projects and programs, things like that. And so they encourage them to do that at the beginning of the year. They take grant applications in September for innovative things that the teachers would like to do, and then they consider that for that grant application in the fall.
We've had certain, I think a nonprofit organization talking about school supplies for teachers. One of the things that is really, I guess, a hot button issue, if you wanted to say it, is kind of how much is given to teachers in order to supply their classroom. Do you agree that there needs to be more given to teachers in order to do that?
There's always looking at ways to try to do that. Our principals and the campus staffs work to provide as much as they can with local budgets for that. Many times teachers will, I know when my daughter was in school, teachers would put up different things. Like if you're at the store and can pick up an extra thing of paper or this or that, they'd pick up that and you could send that in to help if parents were able to do that. So that was always a good advantage to be able to get different things.
So you mentioned that your daughter's at Stephen F. Austin for education. She's, obviously getting her college degree, but she wants to be a teacher is what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. Does she know where she wants to teach? Does she want to come back to Dickinson, or is there
I think she wants to come back to this area somewhere and teach somewhere in this area. So she's still, like I said, she's fixing to start her second year, so she's still kind of thinking about that and what she wants to do. She'll get into some more education classes this year, so she'll get some more experience there.
Okay, with the school year about to start, is there a theme, like for the year, I guess in general, like the staff gets together and says, hey, this is what we're focusing on this year, this is the overall theme for this brand new school year?
This year, our superintendent is playing off of the start of the new decade here in a few months, and so we're playing off that 2020. So our theme this year is 2020 Vision for the Future.
Awesome.
So,
that's a good one.
Why? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Her goal, our superintendent, Carla Vocals, started last summer. So she's been there a year. So she's had a year she was already in our district, but she's had a year in that superintendent role to kind of get her feet wet and see what she wants to do. And so that is something she was excited about this year, to do some different things and her kind of start her vision of different things with school safety, with academics, with starting to develop a strategic plan and a vision that will start on with the help of parents and students, teachers, community to work with that. She's going to bring in our facility task force this year to look at demographics to see what we need to do in the future for growth. Because like I said, we are a fast growth district, and so we're always having to look at different schools that we'll need and things like that.
You mentioned school safety. How important is school safety in Dickinson ISD? I know there's a lot of districts who are looking into that. And what is the school district doing in terms of school safety this year?
School safety is a top priority in our district, and so we're always looking at different things to do. We added several new we have a contract with the Galveston County Sheriff's Office for their officer liaison program. So we doubled the number of officers. We went from 4 to 8 last year that are in the schools. We have an officer at every secondary campus, and then they also help cover the elementaries. We put up additional fencing around several of the schools. We did several things like that. And a big focus was on mental health, to try to work with the students before it's an emergency, and to get them the help they need, to get connections with them, build relationships.
Is that through counseling? Counselors?
Through counseling, through different programs that are available for that. We have a huge program that we've kicked off this year called Restorative Practices that we're working with the national educators for restorative practices on that, and all of our teachers are being trained in that starting next week. They'll receive a full day training. It's a program that helps teachers build relationships with the students to combat different student behaviors and start off the year good and come up with ideas to help the students on behavior issues.
Right now it is 10:28. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11. We're talking to Tammy with Dickinson ISD about the school year. It's starting. It's coming up quick, whether you like it or not. Maybe your kids are happy about it. Maybe you're happy about it. Either way, it's coming. But we're going to take a quick break on the FM. Coming up next is Bethel of Lion and the Lamb on KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Go download the KHEA Radio app. You can stream us from anywhere in the world, whether you're in Dickinson, whether you're in California, New York, whether you're in, I don't know, Scotland, anywhere.
Those member benefits, 20% off local restaurants and businesses. Go check it out, KHEARadio.com.
Going good. How you doing?
Okay.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
So are we.
She was a little nervous at first, right? Like when we talked on the phone, you're like, I'm going to go talk on the radio.
A little bit.
So you trained for this.
It's still always when you're,
I know.
yeah, you train for it, and after you do it a little bit, you get more comfortable.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you ever been on a local radio station?
Not local, no. Not, well, no, not radio at all, no.
I like being the best and the first and the only. Like, it's just easy.
It makes it would help if there was another FM radio station here. I can't imagine the fire under Curt they would light if there was like maybe Dickinson had an FM radio station. Curt would be like, oh my, or Texas City or Galveston, anybody. But in Galveston County,
Kurt would not last very long. Like the Dickinson PD would be at my door knocking and be like, hey, did you burn down that radio station? No, it wasn't me.
It's like, here's
we
video
have
surveillance.
video of it.
And like it was Kurt's own video. Kurt's own video as he was like live streaming it. Be like, sir, you videoed yourself doing this. You said
I'm kind of competitive. You know, I think it burns from my roots of my football playing days. I was one. Oh man. Okay. Funny story. This is my football playing days, and then we can go back to talking about Dickinson. So there was a team that we were losing to, and the quarterback came over. Like it was a running play, and you're supposed to move out of the way. I didn't move out of the way. I just stood there.
Your own quarterback?
No, the opposing team's quarterback. And he came over and smashed into me because I just stood there, and I'm like, huh, and like took the hit, and he like fell over.
Why would you move out the way? You
Because
take the block on, and then you tackle the guy.
No, I was standing on the sidelines.
Oh, my
So,
God.
like,
of
he was
course you
running
were
over-
standing on the
I was
sideline.
on the sidelines. but
That
I
was Kurt's
doing-
starting position.
That was the only tackle I made ever in a varsity game, and I was on the sidelines.
Wow.
I was very competitive. Let's just put it that way when it came to the football. When you're on the sideline, you're supposed to move out of the way when players
I
are coming up.
understand
Okay.
how.
But I didn't. And somebody came over and they're like, hey, we could have got a flag for that. I'm like, but we didn't, did we? So, yeah.
And starting on the sidelines,
It's Kurt
number
Casper.
62 with the 6'3", 40. Kurt Casper.
I was 74. Thank you very much. My number was on my necklace.
We've talked about that a little bit too. All right. Hey, who's excited for school? I see you tagged Furniture Zone, which is in Dickinson. Is that just because they're in the ISD? And we love them?
They're in Dickinson. Have you ever been to Furniture Zone?
Yes, they were a big supporter of ours during Hurricane Harvey. So
Yeah, they're great people.
we actually, that was one of the ways we used some of the money that we got donated was to give gift cards to Furniture Zone to some of the families to get mattresses or furniture, things like that.
You know, there's also Oaxaca Meat Market.
Oaxaca?
I can't say it right, yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about?
That one.
Oaxaca, Oaxaca. It's over, like, I guess that's Dickinson Avenue, but if you're on the way to the high school, 517, and you instead of turning to Furniture Zone, or you can't turn to Furniture Zone, but you pull in that parking lot, there's like a little biker hangout, and then there says it's Oaxaca, Oaxaca Meat, Grocery and Meat Market. Have you ever been in there?
No, I haven't been in there.
Do yourself a favor, go in there, turn to the right, and then just like be like, I want everything.
Get a taco or two. Like, it's delicious.
Yeah,
I'll have to try that.
there's a taqueria in there, and then in the back a meat market and a grocery store, and the produce is beautiful. The tacos are great. Highly recommended. Whenever anybody asks, like, hey, what's a local place? I'm like, have you been to Oaxaca? If you haven't, go.
Okay.
So
We're trying to get them to sign up for our Taco Cook-Off, which is taking place October 12th. I know we talked about it a lot today, but I love talking about tacos. So,
but we have the city of Lamarck signing up. We're going to try and get Texas City ISD to bring a team. If Texas City ISD brings a team, I think that only leaves one option for Tammy to get the troops together and get Dickinson ISD to show up, show out, maybe even recruit Oaxaca to provide the meat and cook the meat. I don't know. However y'all make it work, but to show up on October 12th, it's a Saturday, and it's benefiting the United Way, Galveston County mainland, and all the agencies they support right here in Lamarck.
That's great.
So
they are a big supporter of Dickinson ISD as well. So
it's good people there. Tomorrow we're working with them to shoot some video for a couple different locations, and we're excited.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. So you guys are going to have a team then, right?
Just say
we
yes.
can look into that. Give me all the information on it.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
I'm going to make you a co-host of the event. There you go. I did that the other day. I just went through and started tagging people as co-host of the event. I think Facebook got mad at me, and now I can't add anymore. I don't know. They're like, oh, this sounds like spam.
Well, Facebook got mad at me, and I can't invite any more people of my Facebook friends to the event.
Yeah, once you invite 250, they don't let you invite anymore.
That's crazy.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Get in trouble with Facebook. Go to Facebook jail.
Exactly.
Listen,
it's a very real place. It's dark in there.
I've been there a couple times. They won't let me post in groups sometimes. I get tagged as spam. I'm not a spam. I'm a real person.
Yeah.
And then I write them. I'm like, how am I spam? I'm writing you right now, and they're like, it's still spam.
Tammy, how does Dickinson ISD utilize social media to get messages across or look at feedback?
Social media is a big thing for us because that's the way a lot of parents, they're all on Facebook or Twitter or things like that. So we do a lot with social media. Our Facebook page, we post things almost every day about different things going on in the schools. A lot of times parents don't, even in emergency situations, will get that out there because that is one way that we can get it out there super quick within a few minutes. And before it takes a little bit longer to input the message and get calls out to parents, but with social media, we can have that up in just a couple minutes very quickly.
I got you. And then, if you want to find out more information, you're like, oh, go here, click here, call, and then you can get that first wave spread it the quickest way possible.
It's a good way because then you can put as much as you want. You can put pictures, you can put video. We still have a printed newsletter that we mail out to parents, and we have an electronic newsletter that's emailed to parents. But with social media, that's the one way they can get it. They're looking at that throughout the day, and they can see different things going on, and they love to see their kids' pictures and different things like that going on.
Yeah, you working in education, I think you said for 22 years. 22 years ago, the internet wasn't utilized like that. Is it easy for, I guess, teachers and the personnel in school districts to make that decision? Like, well, maybe we should look at this, or is it kind of like a struggle? And then be like, yeah, we'll use it.
We started probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and we've just gotten in a little bit more each time. I believe most of our campuses have Facebook pages, and so they get information out just at the campus level about that. And then we have also our district Facebook page where we can put district news as well as campus news. We can share the posts from the campuses. So it's become a big way for us to communicate to parents in the community.
For parents of students, how big is the support, their support, like supporting the school district, supporting the teachers? What does that mean to the school district and the schools?
We love the support of our community and our parents, and we have a lot of support from them. So they are involved in things. They come out to things. Like I've said, the community is out at all sorts of things. The homecoming parade, they line the streets and watch that down 517. They come out to different events. A lot of times we have different senior citizens that'll come out. Anyone 60 and older that lives in Dickinson ISD can get our gold card and come out to different events. They can come to football, varsity football games, and other football games as well too for free. They can come to fine arts events for free, and so we actually have a lot of people that come to those.
Wait, how do you get? I want this because I want to. I was just actually thinking, can I? I don't have a kid in the fight, but I could go to a Dickinson football game, right?
Well, when you can come to a Dickinson football game whenever you want, no matter if you have a gold card or not. But when you get 60, you can get that gold card and get in there free.
Goals, right? Kurt's like
Hashtag goals. Just got to wait another 30 years.
yeah, 29 in some months.
29 in some months. Don't remind me.
So, okay, for parents who want to get involved and maybe they don't know the best step, and I've heard of like the PTO, PTA, but I don't know. What's the best way for a parent who's just been sending their kid to school, like, hey, where's a good place to start to get involved?
Especially here at the beginning of the school year, the campuses will be sending out stuff to encourage parental involvement. The PTAs and PTOs are an awesome way to get involved because those are giving back right directly to those campuses. The principals always want parent volunteers, and so if a parent is really interested in getting involved, they can check with their campus principal to see different ways they can get involved to come and help, to volunteer. But the PTAs and PTOs at the campus level are a wonderful way to get involved. Or when you get into the high school level, the booster clubs that are available for different sports and fine arts, things like that.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. This is about homework. At Dickinson ISD, so my son, he's gone to school a couple different places, and there's a bunch of different thoughts on homework. I'm not sure if this would be like more on the campus level and it depends on the teacher, but how young do they start giving homework and how much?
You'll start getting homework in elementary. It's kind of a campus kind of decision to figure all that out. At the younger grades, it's not as much, and it'll gradually just get more and more as the student gets older, up until they're in high school, just preparing them for college
Sure.
and what they will expect when they get there.
Just wondering. That was just a question as a parent, because sometimes I'm like, I remember I started getting homework, in a certain grade, and it's like, obviously there's decisions that are made and there's reasons and studies and teaching styles, and everybody's different, but
I kind of feel bad for kids today. I feel like, and I might be on the minority on this, but I feel like kids should not have homework ever. Like, even up until like middle school, like let kids be kids, let them go home. They're in school for 8 hours. If I had a job, and they said, hey, you're going to work for 8 hours and then you're going to go home and you also have to work for another 4 hours from home, I'm not doing it. I'm leaving that job. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, no way.
I would hope none of our campuses are giving 4 hours of homework. So
I remember at the high school, though, it was, I was doing 2 to 4 hours of homework every single night, writing paper. I was in AP classes, so writing writing papers and everything like that. It's a lot.
Well, you took it seriously, we can tell.
Yes.
Which is good.
Things have changed a lot, even from when I was in school, because we didn't. But it's just the more and more requirements and things that students have to be able to master and things.
What's cool about some of the things that the high schools are offering now are the classes where you can get college credit. A lot of the kids are able to graduate high school with a 2-year degree as well. Is that something you guys offer at Dickinson?
We have that through College of the Mainland through their collegiate high school program. And so we have quite a few students who take advantage of that, where they can go and we have at least almost, I think it was a couple dozen students around, I know it was in the high teens, that graduated with an associate's degree before they ever graduated high school. So because College of the Mainland will end like mid-May, so they'll walk across and get their associate's degree, and then a couple weeks later they'll walk across and get their high school diploma. So that is a huge advantage to both the student and the parent, because then they start college after high school graduation with 2 years under their belt. That has saved parents money, that saved the student time. So
I just saw like in my head, there was one that I saw the other day where it's like, college freshman, I'm technically a sophomore. And the other person's like, wow. I just thought of that meme in my head as I was talking about that.
I haven't seen that one.
I'm sorry.
It sounds great.
We have a lot of students it's a way for them to get, because Dickinson ISD, 70% of our students are on the free and reduced lunch program. They're limited income. So it's a great way for them to be able to get those college credits while they're still in high school and not have to worry about trying to pay for those once they're out of school.
Does the high school pay for or cover a portion of the college credit?
Yes, it does. So I believe the students have to pay a little bit, but it's compared to what they will pay when they get to regular college out after graduation. It's it's nothing really.
So the way that works is like, hey, I'm taking math. I'm taking college algebra, but that counts as my my high school algebra credit or a math.
It'll count as both. But my daughter did that with hers. She took a few classes. Dual credit is what they offered at her high school, and so she did that, and she started college with 15 hours.
It's the first year done.
So
that's awesome.
It's a huge advantage to get some of those core classes, the maths and the sciences and the English, the things like that, out of the way before they get to a 4-year college or even to a junior college.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids who maybe don't want to go to college, or maybe they want to go straight into the working field or pick a career or do something different, right? Is there anything Dickinson ISD offers to those kids who are, hey, college isn't for me?
And we have quite a few students who can do that, and they can go directly into the workforce, making a lot of money in different careers like that. We have all sorts of offerings in our career and technology department through the high school. They have cosmetology, they have auto mechanics, they have welding. There is all sorts of things like that. There's some engineering type classes.
Wow.
So there's all sorts of offerings they have to be able to do that.
Are these classes allowing them to just get dip their toes in to see, hey, I like this, or is it doing a certificate?
No, it's actually, we have quite a few students that will graduate with certificates and license that they can use to go directly into that workforce. With us living right here with all the plants around us, they're always looking for different students with those certifications and things, and so they can go in and make $70,000, $80,000 a year just starting out with some of those different certifications.
One of the things I know it sounds weird bringing up Texas City, but Texas City has the ITC building, I believe is what it's called, the Trade Center building, where they pick up on a trade.
Industrial trade, is that what
Yeah, Industrial Trade Center. Does Dickinson have something like that as well, where they can learn how to? Because when I actually taught in a tech center, where it was, hey, you would spend and get certifications, they would get their LN before they even graduated high school. Is there something like that in Dickinson?
We don't have a separate facility for that. It's all done through the high school, but like I said, they can get all those different licenses through the high school, through those programs that are there on the campus at Dickinson High School.
What kind of programs are there? Can you go into what different types?
They have auto mechanics, where they have different partnerships with the different car dealerships and things, where they work directly on the cars. They have cosmetology. They have a full cosmetology setup with the different stalls that the students work in. They take in some outside where you can make appointments and go in there and actually work. They actually work on people through that.
So I can go get my hair cut.
I believe they have hours where they can do that.
But they're not there right now, right?
Not right now. No,
So
during the school year.
August. The brand new student.
It may take them a little while to get going, but they do that during the school year. They have a pharmacy tech program where they teach the students about pharmacy, and then those students actually work in pharmacies at different drugstores and things.
So I'll have the relationship with a lot of the different businesses. So
a lot of it is a lot through partnerships with different businesses.
Okay, cool. We have a minute left, and then we're going to go and we'll be able to chat for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be able to wrap it up. But yeah, everything sounds good. Dickinson ISD, it's about to start, I guess, all across the board. August 19th. What day of the week is that?
It's a Monday.
Starting on a Monday. I like that. Sometimes schools will start on a Thursday for some reason, which is almost nice because then it's hey, it's the weekend, it's kind of a way to dip your toes in. Sometimes back from holiday break.
We've done that before where we've started we've kind of done different scenarios. Some people do like that because then you can get 2 or 3 days in and then have a weekend before going with a full week.
Yeah.
This year we're going to go straight into a Monday and go. An advantage of that is our students get out before Memorial Day in May. So
Cool.
That was something a lot of parents have always asked for too. So
In Vermont, we were going until June 25th, and I was like, come on.
Okay.
Our last day of school is May 21st, I believe.
All right. We got 6 seconds. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
It's 10:47 a.m. on a Wednesday. We're excited. We're talking to Tammy with Dickinson ISD. School is starting. School is here. You know, August has snuck up on us, and the kids are already ready to go back. So they're going to be learning a bunch of new stuff. We were just chatting a bit, Tammy, about all of the opportunities here at Dickinson ISD for kids who are deciding, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to college. I'm going to look at a trade. How do y'all kind of communicate with those people? Because they're still really young. Like, hey, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Or at least kind of get on a path where you find something. How does that break down?
At the elementary levels, the counselors are a huge resource. They start working with the students. Most of our elementaries have career days where they start introducing students to different careers, and that continues on into middle school, junior high, and before they get to high school to kind of know what they want to go into. There's different endorsements the students can pursue once they get to high school for different career paths that they want to choose, whether that's college or straight into the workforce, with different career tech offerings and licenses and certifications they can get. We have a huge STEM program so that students who are interested in that, in the science, technology, engineering, and math, we have a STEM academy that's available in grades 5 through 8. It's going into 8th grade this year. We've kind of expanded that. We started about 3 years ago, and now this next year we'll go on to 8th grade. And so that offers about 100 students in each of those grade levels a chance to get more in-depth experience into science, technology, engineering, and math. And so we will hope to expand that a year from now into the 9th grade.
So whenever they do get into high school and they're able to maybe pursue collegiate high school or do dual credit, or hey, I want to go into cosmetology, is there like a counseling session, and what grade does that start?
Our counselors at the high school work with those students to figure out what works best for them in those different career paths. We will start we're opening a new 9th grade building this next year, and so all of our 9th graders will be together in one building. That was to help. It has advantages both ways. It's to help with our student enrollment at the high school, but also it puts all those students together and it gives them a chance for the teachers, administrators to work directly with the 9th graders on some different types of things to help them through high school. Through our another program we have is AVID, which allows students to get more experience with college level, to get them ready for college if they want to do that, with skills like note-taking and leadership skills, things like that. And so some of those skills they'll have more in depth in that 9th grade building.
Cool.
So
with it being its own building, though, does that allow them to not participate like in varsity sports, or if they want to be like in theater, they just have to make the transport?
It's all there on the high school campus, so it's just walking
one building
to the next. It's right there. They'll spend the majority of their day in the 9th grade building for their core classes, but then they'll go over to the high school building for the fine arts, for band, for athletics, things like that.
If somebody owns a business or they just want to support the ISD, they want to support education more than they already do, or maybe they don't live in the school district but they really like what's going on, how can they get a hold of somebody to, hey, make a difference in a teacher? School supplies, what's a good place for them to reach out to?
I have people call all the time that want to help, and so they're more than welcome to give me a call, and we can talk about what they're wanting to do and figure out I can put them in contact with the best person for what they're wanting to do in the school district.
Does the ISD do a lot for the community as well? Can you kind of walk us through what you guys do to kind of give back to Dickinson as well?
We're always giving back. We have a huge relationship with M.I. Lewis Social Service Center, the food pantry there in Dickinson that serves anyone living in that's their service area is the Dickinson ISD boundaries. And so we work with them for our Stuff the Bus food drive every year in November. And so all the campuses bring in food to give back that then they give back to the families in need. All of our different organizations are always out volunteering for different events and things. So we're always looking for ways to give back. We had a huge when Hurricane Harvey came through, one of the different organizations that first helped us was Alto ISD. And so this past year they were hit by a very bad tornado that went through there and devastated some of their community. And so we quickly organized an effort and got several thousands of dollars in gift cards that we gave back to them. So we're always looking for ways to teach our students about the importance of giving back.
And volunteering. I think that's very important. Just supporting, the community and even these school districts. Is there ever an opportunity where y'all come together and work on an event or at least have a working relationship?
Yeah, we always work together on different things that come up like that. And so I think we're all familiar with each other. We're all there for the same purpose. We may be different school districts, but our focus is students. And so we're always looking for different ways to join together and help students.
Okay. You mentioned, I guess, the superintendent. You said last year was her first year? Mm-hmm. That can't be an easy position to just jump into.
I could do it.
Well, of course.
For a day.
But we're talking
You could
about
be superintendent for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do that. KHEA Radio is superintendent for the day.
Yeah.
You know what everyone would get? All the kids would get free ice cream.
All, 6,000? Or you said 11,000?
We probably will be around 11,300, give or take, when school gets going.
Cool Cow Creamery will do 11,000 ice cream cones that day then.
Okay.
So that's my first order of business as superintendent.
And the second is you're getting fired. It's like we went over on the ice cream budget. There was no ice cream budget. It's just a really big
budget.
Big what? Hey, yeah, there's a lot of budgeting that goes on in ISDs, right?
Absolutely.
And like trying to find room in the budget for ice cream, maybe
We're
difficult.
trying to find room in the budget for everything.
Yeah. Hey, is there anything else you'd like to share while you're here today?
We're just very excited about the school year. We're excited to have our Gators coming back and get off to a great year. And look forward to all the new things that will come during this 1920 school year.
All right. Well, we're excited for the school year. If you are, feel free to let us know. What are you excited about? Where does your child go? And maybe we'll reach out to that ISD as well, because there's a lot. Our community is so interwoven here. We talk to a lot of people, and I'm excited that you came in today.
Do you remember the Dickinson kid who was in the Lamarck video? He's like, goes to Dickinson ISD but lives in the city of Lamarck.
Yeah.
I always think about that there are, just because you go to Dickinson ISD, you might live in Texas City. You might live in the city of Lamarck. You might live in Santa Fe. It all intertwines, right?
Well, our boundaries are a lot bigger than most people think. They think Dickinson and they think the city of Dickinson. And the city of Dickinson is, of course, in Dickinson ISD, but it's only around 20% of our entire boundaries. We go down into around Mall of the Mainland. We go down toward Gulf Greyhound Park, all of the Lagomar homes that are coming in around the Buc-ee's.
That's going to be all?
It's all Dickinson ISD. On the north side, we go up to League City Parkway and take in a section of Tuscan Lakes. We include Bay Cliff and San Leon. Over toward Bay Colony, we include all of Bay Colony and go up toward Cemetery Road right off 517 there. So our boundaries are a lot bigger than what a lot of people realize.
Wow. Well, hey, we're going to end the show right now. We had an awesome show today. Thank you so much, Tammy, for hanging out with us.
Thank you for the invitation.
And school's starting soon, so make sure that you get your kids the school supplies. It's been KHEA Radio Kickstart. We're going to be on tomorrow morning at 8:30. Spreading some positivity. Coming up next, we have some Toby Mac Overflow.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. We love you.